My dude be on his burner account. I like it.
Who are the most influential players in NBA history? We got a list of about 10 guys that we believe here at Players' Choice are the most influential players in history. And I will give you guys these guys from 10 to 1. First off, welcome into the show. Second off, there's burner accounts going on.
Apparently,
allegedly, man, allegedly.
Apparently, that there is. You know, we got some people who disguise themselves, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be surprising, Ron, because you know Mars is a self-admitted what? Mars is
having a burner makes me a scumbag.
No, I didn't say that. I was not that, but a self-admitted what, Mars? Like KD?
Troll?
Yeah, 100%. So as a troll, why would I be surprised that you have a burner account? Because that's what trolls do. Is that correct?
Sure, I mean, I guess, but I don't really troll on my burner like that. Sometimes, but not all the time. I mean,
why do you have a burner? Isn't that the point of having a burner account, Mars?
Nah.
Hey, I'm gonna put it out there. I didn't think I was, but then people started like I would leave comments on TikTok from my main account, right? And then people will reply to my TikTok and be like, Mars, what are you doing on this side of TikTok? I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. I just need a burner at this point because there's no way I'm being found out on this side of TikTok. I'm leaving comments. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me get on my burner. I'm gonna leave comments over there because I'm not here to be like, Mars, why are you watching these videos? It'll be a 2K video. Mars, I don't know why. Wait, Mars, you talking about 2K? Like, what? So yeah, I'm on my burner now. I'm not like KD though. I haven't slipped up and put something on my main account. I was meant to be for my burner. So that's good. One person found my burner, so then I had to make another one. But other than that, yeah, I've been chilling.
Because I'm not, again, Mars, I'm not familiar with burner accounts. It sounds like they're easy to sniff out though.
I've been found out once. I can't remember who it was that found.
Hold on. Why were you found out? What gave you away, Mars?
I slipped up. But not because I put not because I
intel on the intel.
Not because I left a comment somewhere, but I slipped up. Someone found my burner. So I had to go make a new one real quick. Haven't been found out to my knowledge on the new burner, but maybe someone has found it and they're just keeping it quiet. If you have, shout out to you. I appreciate that. If you have found my burner and you don't just say anything, because if you just expose my burner, you ruin it for all of us. So yeah, but burner accounts are mandatory, I guess. I have some burner accounts that are like clearly my burner account.
Some burner accounts.
I have like 4. I have one burner account that is like, it's so obviously me on a burner that is like, I don't even use it unless I want people to know it's me on a burner. Yeah. But like my actual burner accounts, yeah, I keep them as hidden as possible. But I do have some that's like, yeah, this is clearly Mars, but I make it clear as me. So they don't even count as burners, really.
That's what I'm saying. Mars, doesn't it defeat the purpose of having a burner account if you
that's just like so people don't go looking for my real ones. They see the burner that is so evidently me. They're like, oh, I know Mars burner is this, and I'm like, he doesn't know. So yeah.
Bro, no. Have you commented on the same post with multiple accounts?
Nah.
That's how you really throw people off your track.
Nah, just in case. Actually, there might have been a situation where I would have replied to my comment on my main account with my burner account, calling my main account stupid. So I may have done that.
So you creating beefs with yourself to throw people off.
I may have done that. I may have done that before. I may have done that before, but I can't remember if I have.
Nah.
But anyway, yeah, a lot of burner talk to start the show. Shout out to anyone with a burner account. It's mandatory.
Well, we're obviously gonna start our show, aside from all burner talk, with my man Joe Dapp gifting out 5 Players' Choice memberships. So round of applause, Joe Dapp.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. That's a beautiful way to start the show. Shout out to everybody that's in here, the early birds that came in here and got a membership. Salute to you guys. And on that note, we're gonna take a quick breakfast break. Then we're gonna start out early. And then we're gonna come back and get right into this most influential players. I can't wait to give you guys our honorable mentions and then really get into the list. This should be interesting. Most influential players of all time on basketball, not just best players, not just who has the most aura. Remember, we had that conversation last night. But who's the most influential? All right, y'all. Be back in a second.
What up, PC Nation? Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals this July with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious. From breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced. Head to factormeals.com/playerschoice50 and use code playerschoice50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code playerschoice50 at factormeals.com/playerschoice50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
All right, fellas, let's go ahead and get into it. Before I do that, I do want to say RIP to Attles. He died at 87 yesterday. A legend for the Warriors franchise on and off the court. He's had 11 years in the NBA. Well, 11 years with the Warriors, actually. Then he moved into coaching for a little bit. He was a player in 1968 and eventually became a head coach, leading the Warriors to an NBA championship in 1975. His 60-plus years of service with the Warriors is the longest any person has served with a single franchise. So shout out to Attles. Chill, are you familiar with Al?
Yeah, he was on the team with Chamberlain when Chamberlain was with the Golden State Warriors. He was a dirty work guy. He was a good coach too, by the way. I didn't know he passed away. That's news to me, Ron. I did not know that. Yeah, he definitely was a big time player. And he was influential to the game. 100% he was. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
To be 87, I mean, shit. This isn't one of those condolences things for me. It's more of I hope that I live that long to be able to say that I passed away at 87. That's an awesome life, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm watching this film right now in black and white. He's kind of getting to it.
Yeah, he was a player.
Chat, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in the chat for you guys. Hey, coming through with the sky hook. Okay, hey, getting the steal going coast to coast. Chat, I'm gonna drop this in for you guys. You guys can go check out Alvin Attles. But all right, you guys.
So I don't get to give my opinion on it.
I guess not, Mars. You ain't important.
Yes, forget me then.
Mars, you don't like to speak on things that you don't know about.
But hey, I know a little bit. I want to give a little bit of a history lesson to people who may not know. Yeah, to people who may not know about that 1975 Warriors championship team. Did you know they are the only team to win a championship and they played no games at their home court in the finals? Did you know that? Because they had a scheduling conflict with their arena at the time of the finals, because even their arena didn't think they would make it that far in the postseason. They had other things scheduled for May, so they couldn't play a game in the finals at home because they didn't think they would make it. So the Warriors, who ended up winning the championship, didn't play a game at home in the finals and ended up sweeping the Bullets anyway. So that was Al Attles coaching that team, Rick Barry finals MVP, all of those good stuff. But yeah, that's one of the most interesting stories about an NBA champion that's ever happened. I mean, technically, you could say, yeah, the 2020 bubble team never played a game at home too. But yeah, Disney was. We're talking about real NBA atmosphere, and the Warriors couldn't play a home game against the Bullets in the finals because they had a scheduling conflict, because the people who ran Golden State's arena didn't think a team that was as not very good in the regular season as the Warriors would have made it that far. So they had already rented out the arena for that week of the finals.
Imagine
so shout out to the Warriors for winning a championship without playing any games at home, sweeping the Washington Bullets in the process. So yes, but I could offer nothing to the conversation, right, Ron?
Imagine that.
Hey,
Ron.
Hey, that's amazing, Mars.
Yeah.
Shout out Rick Barry too.
Trash.
Going ahead and getting him a rim.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Rick. Shout out Rick. And Al as well. Is there anybody else that's notable on this team from 1975? I'm looking right now. Rick Barry
was on that team. Jamal Wilkes was on that team too.
Oh, he was, huh?
I think I was just after. I think I was just after Nate Thurmond had left. So unlucky for him. But yeah, it wasn't a team that was meant to make it that far. So
shout out Rick Barry carrying 28 points in the playoffs.
I mean, he averaged like 40 in the finals in 67. So yeah, shout out to Rick Barry. They lost that year, but shout out to Rick Barry.
Yeah, Chamberlain was just too much.
All right, y'all. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. So I would like to start by giving some honorable mentions out to a couple guys. Most influential players in NBA history. Our first honorable mention goes to Jeremy Lin. Then we got Brian Scalabrine. We also got
Scalabrine. What would Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba?
The White Mamba.
He influenced guys like Thanasis and Johnny Davis and Killian Hayes.
Yeah,
for like being able to make a living in the NBA while being doo-doo.
How about that? Okay.
And also like when you remember the series when he went one-on-one against like average people?
Yes,
and, like,
I see that.
Destroyed them. That was influence too. It made people realize that he may not be in the league, but you sit down. He million times better than you.
I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me, right?
That's influence too. He made people like me have to sit down and be humble.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Stop influence.
Yo, what's going on, Swiper?
What's up? I apologize for being late. Y'all literally just got out of a little show.
You had a meeting. Obviously, you had an engagement.
He dressed for the occasion. Yeah.
That's what it looked like. It looked like Swiper looked like I gotta.
I'm not gonna bring my work life into this, but I just had one of the most. I'm being honest with you. I just had one of the most the best interviews I've ever done with somebody who has worked in education for the last 30 years, and he's a very well known figure as well. But he is a he specifically designed schools for Black male children, and he has 100% graduation rate for any kid that attends his schools. 100% graduation rate to a 4-year college. It has had that for several years, and he's built 5 separate schools. And he's that. Yeah, he's incredible, and so he just peep game like a mug. So I'm like on a high right now. Like it was.
You don't look like a Swiper. You look like you're a little like flustered. I didn't know that.
Well, no, I'm saying because I was trying to rush off. I was talking to the producer to try to get out of that to come to this because I know we had an important list. Because I got a run to go on today too because Ron hit me up last night. Like, let me give you your 5 most influential list of players. I'm like, well, shoot, I get to talk about my number one. Chill, my number one. I'm not gonna say it now. I'm not gonna say it now, but it could. It's over everybody. Right. It's over everybody. It's not even a conversation.
Ron asked me that. What time did he ask me?
Today, didn't he?
He asked me past midnight.
Yeah,
I could have been asleep.
Right, but you
like Ron has no consideration for me on the other side of the planet.
Then go to sleep and wake up and reply to the message.
No, because your message was preferably as soon as possible. So if I would have been asleep at that time and then woke up, and then I don't know what time you wake up because you're like 8 hours behind me, you wouldn't have got my list until right before the show. So Ron has no consideration for people like me who are on a different time zone to him. It's just we gotta work on Ron's time.
Yeah,
the lack of respect for someone
American.
Across the pond is crazy.
I'm so American, Mars. I'm sorry.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm looking at swiping. I feel like I need my paperwork to be together because I'm trying to get a loan.
No, I'm
gonna
go take this off.
Yeah, my paperwork off. That's what I was about to say. My paperwork. I feel like my paperwork need to be together and all my affairs need to be in order because I'm trying to get this loan.
No, well, chill. You need to fill that anyway because you've been losing a lot of debates to me lately. A lot. You definitely the 2 days ago.
Not only have I not lost any. I'm one of the confident.
Ron, you're honest. You're honest sometimes.
We will be matched up in the PCL.
Did he not get demolished in that Julius Randle pull-up transition mid-range shot argument? What do you mean you didn't get cooked?
No, I didn't. I did not.
Ron, did you hear him talking about Dante DiVincenzo turned down a wide open 3 for Julius Randle's confidence for his aura?
who has
for his aura.
Right, who has the basketball.
Who does? Why would Julius have that? That's the other thing. Mars, hold on, Mars. Why would Julius Randle have the ball in transition? The reason why
he's got the ball because
somebody explain that to me. Somebody explain that to me.
Because he gets the rebound and goes.
So Julius Randle is going to dribble the ball.
Yes,
Mr. Bulldozer himself is going to have enough agility to dribble the ball up the court and then do a pull-up jump shot.
Something that you just made up, and that's just not true.
What do you mean? He doesn't dribble well. What are you talking about?
If he doesn't dribble well, then why has he been in the league for as long as he's been in
the
league?
No, chill. That has nothing to do with it. Chill.
Why is he
there's many things that Julius Randle does well. Dribbling is not one of them. Dribbling is not. What do you mean it's not true?
That was true.
Have you seen him dribble at the NBA?
If that was true, then people.
What do you mean? If it's true, he doesn't dribble for a reason. He's turnover prone. He can't hit jumpers.
That about a
no, that's why Chill likes him, Ron, because he reminds him of him. Because he can't hit jumpers, he can't dribble, and he's turnover prone. That's it. And then you definitely got cooked yesterday. And then you definitely got cooked yesterday.
100%. You clearly don't know what you're talking about.
How I know it? What are you talking about? Do you want Julius Randle initiate offense?
Do I want Julius? We weren't talking about Julius Randle initiating offense.
That's what he's doing. If he got the ball in transition, he's going down the court, he's initiating the offense.
And no, he's not. That's not.
What do you mean? No, he's not. So who? If he dribbles the ball from the rebound to the 3-point line on the other side, who's initiating the offense? A ghost? A ghost?
That's not me initiating offense.
No, hold on. What's that? What? No, Chill. Wait, me and you around. We ain't around the same age. Chill. What's that movie? What's that movie about the angel? Remember his brother died. It's a Marlon Wayans movie. His brother died, and his brother was an angel. 6 Man. So this is what this is. So this is 6 Man. So Ryan, that's what you said. Julius Randle has a 6 man that's initiating the offense when he has the ball dribbling down the court. That's what I just heard. The ghost of Taj Gibson. The ghost of Taj Gibson is helping Julius Randle.
How can I not handle when I'm grabbing the ball off the glass and I'm out in transition? That's number one. Number two, how am I initiating offense if what you trying to sell us is I'm stopping and I'm directing people, you go here, you go there, when I'm just coming down in transition and I'm stopping and popping? You're talking about initiating offense completely different. You're talking about initiating offense like Jalen Brunson. You're talking about initiating offense like
no, I didn't. I didn't say that at all.
So what are you talking about when you talk about initiating offense? This is what I mean when when you make things up. What are you talking about?
What do you mean I made things up? I didn't make anything up. Chill. Hold on. Let me ask you. I tried to. If you would stop yapping. Stop yapping. Go take where's your applesauce? Go get your applesauce. All right, relax. Listen, if initiating offense, if you get the ball, rebound, I'm running in transition with the ball. Who else is initiating offense if not for the primary ball handler initiating the action from a rebound to going to the other side of the court to getting the offensive advantage going? Who's initiating that offensive play?
If that's the case, then that means that the big guy is initiating an offense too.
Yeah, when they do it, that's why they don't do it. That's why they do not do it.
That's not true because Joker does. So that's
who?
Not true.
Okay, Joker. No. You just brought up a GOAT offensive player. Chill.
There's plenty of guys. Who
oh, what other bigs do it? What other bigs outside of Joker and Giannis? Who else does it?
Jaren Jackson grabs the ball off the glass and he goes.
Jaren Jackson.
There's plenty of guys who grab the ball off the glass and go with it. And again, I want you to stick to the point here. You're talking about initiating offense. Initiating offense, in your estimation, is a guy directing traffic. Julius Randle doesn't do that in transition. That's not what he's doing. Julius Randle is looking for his own offense, and if nothing's there, he'll get the basketball to somebody else, and they'll initiate the offense, like Jalen Brunson. That's what he does.
So wait, you just said Julius Randle not. So you're agreeing with me that he's initiating the offense then on those plays?
I did not say that. No.
So bigs don't initiate. So that's what I'm saying. Never mind. I'm moving on. Let me change. I got to change my background because this is my work background. I got to change this. Hold on.
Yo. All right, y'all. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm running a poll right now to ask you guys who really won the Julius Randle transition debate. And Chill, it's not looking too good for you right now. But we'll see. Maybe things can turn around. I've seen people in teams.
Every time Chill lose, because he got haters. That's why. Every time Chill lose, because he got haters. Never could he just took an L. Never just could he took an L.
That is not true.
It's never just could he took an L. My picture straight. Hold on.
That is not true.
Y'all, speaking of which, I know you guys have been eagerly awaiting.
This way a little bit. Swipe it just a little bit. No, the other way. The other way. Yeah, there you go. That's good right there. Yep, that's it right.
the panelists in the chat, I know you guys have eagerly been waiting about when the PCL playoffs are going to start, who the matchups are going to be, what's the seeding, topics, X, Y, and Z, where it's going to be, what day it's going to be, what time, all of that good stuff. And I'm just here to tell you guys, you will know here very soon. But
yo, we gave you a bunch.
wait.
Hold on, Ron, please. You saw I gave you see he put that little message out there yesterday. And then I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know about it, Mars, until yesterday. And then I was like, oh, this is easy. Ron, I gave you about 12 great options. You come on, lock in. You better those are great options. I gave you at least 12 of them. At least.
I also want to clarify, when he first sent that, I seen it. I went to click on it. I wasn't allowed to edit it. So I also want to put on there that I just never went back to it because Ron didn't give me editing permissions. But then he want to come in the group chat. I'm gonna give you guys one more day because none of you guys had a topic. Like, I'm sorry, I tried to and I couldn't when I first
Ron,
tried.
are you trying to hear it,
so
Ron?
I never went back.
Are you trying to hear it? Are you trying to hear it, Ron?
I never went back.
I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know it existed.
When he said that little announcement, I went and added like I want to say like three or four excellent topics that will be discussed at some point. So yeah, you're welcome.
All the info you need to know about the PCL playoffs will be released here very soon. But what you need to do, because we still haven't got our seeding, you guys still need to go back and vote if you haven't voted. So go back and watch any battle that you haven't seen or any debate you haven't seen, and just go vote on the damn video.
Mars,
Leave
are you
a comment.
undefeated?
Let us know who won.
Nah, I lost the pirate.
All right, Chill, you're undefeated, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know why.
He lost to Dion.
You lost to Dion, didn't you?
You lost to Dion.
No, I didn't.
What was it? It was 2-1 Dion, wasn't it?
According to Mars, I lost to Dion.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't won around according to Mars, so I don't really care what Mars says.
No, I think you beat.
No, I don't care, Mars. I don't care. But look, I'm 2-1, but we all know what happened last week, Chill. We all know what happened. I was at Red Rocks. I was burnt out, and I came back to the hotel, tried to make do. That's what happened. We know what happened. We know what happened. It was a flu game, Chill.
It's a flu game or a hungover game?
No, I don't. I've never. Everyone knows. I want to clarify for everybody up here because y'all don't know me personally. Chill does. He's known for a long time. Chill knows. I've never drank alcohol in my life. Not a drop. Never. Not a drop. Never
Swiper,
smoked in my ever.
You told us that, Swiper, but everybody's saying it's a lie.
I know, but I'm saying literally, if you're outside all day, Chill, you know this. If you're outside all day and you come in the house after being like trekking all day, then you're gonna be, delusional, a little delirium. So that's just what happened. That's just what happened.
All right, y'all. Well, let's go ahead and get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Most influential players of all time. I'm going to start. So we have 9 people right now because I only got 9 names from you guys. Chat, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to find out a 10th, and we'll throw out some options. We'll find 4 good options to come in at 10, but we got to do the first 9 first. So at 9, we have Wilt Chamberlain.
Chill was the one who voted for him, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And Wilt only got 1 vote, and that was funny. But Chill, can you further elaborate on why Wilt Chamberlain is one of the most influential players that we'll ever see?
Just because of the rule changes. That right, not just because of the rule changes, but because he was the pioneer of the 5-man. No Chamberlain, no Jabbar, no Shaq, no Joel Embiid. So that kind of went. He was the original big man, and with him being the original big man, the NBA set it up in terms of the rule changes for him not to succeed. Only except he did succeed. So I'm talking about a guy who is influential, not just on the floor, but also off the basketball court as well. Not because of the way you think, Mars. No, not because of the way. No, not because of the way you think. No, he was an avid business owner.
Didn't he own 20,000 businesses? Was that what?
Yeah,
it was?
Yeah, 20,000 businesses. Something like that. Just look up Wilt Chamberlain 20,000. You'll see.
He was an avid business owner, 100%.
Are you also an avid business owner?
Or invested in 20,000.
Word on the street is Chill's also an avid business owner.
Definitely an investor. Definitely an investor.
Yeah, definitely an investor. Oh, that's why you wanted to hang out with Will. That's right.
100%. So
whatever you want to
with the rule changes, how good he was as a player, the things that he did in order to enhance the game. I think Chamberlain is one of the most influential players that the NBA has ever seen.
I'm not saying I disagree, right? And no, obviously I didn't have a top 5. None of us did. But couldn't the same argument or something similar be made for George Mikan?
Yeah, George Mikan. I'm about to say George Mikan. I'm about to say the same thing. George Mikan.
I don't think
he was before Will. They
Sure.
widened the lane for him. They added a shot clock because teams were actively holding the ball so that George Mikan wouldn't get it back. Like the league changed a lot because of George Mikan. All-Star games, like all of those awards, because George Mikan was by far the best player in the league.
Sure.
Like, so could one not argue that George Mikan was the original big and everything from him was the evolution of that? Or...
In fact, you sound like you arguing for him. But when I think about Chamberlain, as good as George Mikan was and the rule changes for him, they weren't nearly what they were for Chamberlain. I mean, when you're talking about widening the lane, they completely widened the lane for Chamberlain. It got enhanced even more. You're talking about out of bounds rules. You're talking about at the free throw line. You're talking about 3 seconds. Like none of that stuff was going on before Chamberlain. And not only that, it was almost unfair as big as Chamberlain was because he was significantly taller and stronger than George Mikan. So that's mainly why they changed the rules for Chamberlain, to make it fair for other people. Now, I can appreciate the logic of adding a shot clock because George Mikan was as big as he was and they were trying to keep the ball away from him. But they also did that with Chamberlain in college.
Well, didn't they? David Thompson got rules bent.
A lot of people had rules. A lot of people had rules. Charles Barkley had a rule added for him. But like I personally, and this is like
a rule.
Yeah, one rule. But this is like personally like 1000% subjective. I know they widened the lane further from what they did for Mikan. It was 12 feet for Mikan, and then they widened it even more.
It was 16 for Chamberlain.
But for me personally, the biggest rule change in NBA history is undoubtedly the shot clock. Personally, I think without a shot clock, like it's a completely different game if there's no shot clock. Like there's still leagues around high schools that have no shot clock. It's disgraceful.
Right.
But they added that most important rule because of George Mikan. If we're going to talk about rule changes and Wilt Chamberlain, they had to change some rules because you can get the ball off the top of the backboard and you can't dunk from a free throw line because of Wilt. But like, cool. The shot clock, I think, is a more impactful rule than all of them. Especially when I think the second most impactful rule for Wilt is widening the lane, something they already did for Mikan. Right. That was just an addition on top of what Mikan had already done.
Sure.
So personally, I think I would argue Mikan in terms of the rule changes. I would argue Mikan was a bigger impact. And he was definitely the original big before Wilt because he was, 12, 13 years before Wilt.
Right.
So that's why I would argue for Mikan. Now, I wouldn't have either one of them on the top 5, personally.
Yeah,
but I would argue for Mikan before Wilt, probably. So,
I would. The reason why
the Mikan drill and the most improved player is called the Mikan Award. So he still has an impact to this day. So
the reason why I would argue Chamberlain, because like you just said, you talked about the shot clock. I can counter the shot clock with the 3-second rule. And a guy like Chamberlain, as big as he was and as powerful as he was, to be able to plant yourself in the lane and not have to worry about coming out of the lane. I mean, that's an unfair. That's definitely an unfair advantage for anybody to be able to have to stop that. I don't care who you are, guy as big as Chamberlain, the guy as powerful, a guy as skilled as Chamberlain. When you come into the lane, and I could just park myself in there. So instead, they added the 3-second rule because of Chamberlain. I mean, when you talk about the shot clock, sure, we can keep the basketball away from you, but eventually, when we get the ball back, if I got a guy who can just run to the middle of the lane and not just move around, just run to the middle of the lane and just get the ball, and we have nobody here to combat him, then we really have no chance.
Yeah, I mean, you argue that Wilt's the same level of passer as Jokic, but you had to put Wilt on this list. All right, who's next?
Shout out to Wilt.
Next on this list is none other, coming in at 8, none other than the Great White Hope, Larry Bird.
Oh no. Well, he's at 8 by himself?
Yes.
Yeah. So I voted for Birds, and I want to clarify. Someone later on this list, I put them together. Yeah,
me too. Me too.
I had them in conjunction.
So do we want to wait? Do we want to wait until we get to that person as well, or do you want to just do that now?
Oh, you guys can.
But I guess some people obviously put the other guy solo. But the reason I put them together is because the league was in a horrible
place. It was bankrupt.
Place.
Yeah, it was
and I think the reason I'm giving it to both of them. Pause. The reason I think both of them are.
Focus, Mars, because you're giving it to both of them. Okay.
The reason I had both of them on the list is because as respectfully as possible, the league did not like how black the NBA was. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. I asked them how they felt about the New York Knicks and asked them what they called the New York Knickerbockers. ask them what they call him.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Bird being as good as he was and being white made the NBA more marketable than if it was just the other guy by himself. Them two being a rivalry, them two playing for the Lakers and Celtics, all of that, I think you have to have both of them.
The commercials.
Now, the commercials, all of it. Him appealing to, at that time in the 80s, what, 70, 80% of the population?
And he was from Indiana.
Like, he was, no wonder he's called the Great White Boy. Like, a lot of it is based on race, but I think that's very important for how the NBA was being viewed in the 70s with the drugs, the fights, all of those things. They needed someone they could put the corporate label and, hey, this is your great white hope for the NBA.
But the funny thing,
then he was that good. I think you have. But
the funny thing about Larry is he definitely did not fit that archetype super well. Now he was white.
That's it. That was
so. And Chill, obviously, you remember this better than all of us. But like, he was white, so that obviously was the linchpin. Larry Bird was not just. He wasn't some suburban white boy. Like
he was not the do-gooder. Corporate America white guy, but that was the best thing they had. That was the best they had.
He was yapping, he was talking, he was fighting people, he was dirty, he swung at anybody, he fought on the court, he elbowed people on the court, and then on top of that, in the press conference, it wasn't no like, yeah, golly gee, Rich, I'm just really glad to be here. Just a great day, just a great basketball game. We just want to get everybody involved. No, you want to bust your tail in, And then what Charles Barkley, my favorite story about Larry Bird is the Charles Barkley story. Chill. When Charles Barkley said, why y'all got these white, when Larry Bird said, why you got these white boys guarding me? Like, Larry was a different type of dude. And he was, there was a legitimate argument. Like, even when Magic and Bird were at their apex, legitimately, people said Bird, not on some, some like, oh, well, we think he might be. People legitimately thought Bird was just the best player in the world.
That wasn't like hyperbole. That was a fact.
And this was Dr. J, Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, even early Mike, even until like 1988, 89 when Mike started like doing his thing. But even up to that, Larry, bro, you had an argument Larry was better than Magic.
In 1986, Larry Bird was the best player on the planet.
84, 86, nobody. I truly don't think outside of people that were in LA, a majority of people, you went from 84 to 86, Larry Bird was the best player in the world.
Yes, that was a fact.
Why when Moses was winning, like Dr. J was winning, Magic was winning, like Kareem was still in the league. Sure. Like you had people that were great. And Larry, I'm telling y'all, when we had that argument last week for PCL or whatever, people don't realize, Chill, Larry went 5 straight years, I believe, top 3 in MVP race. Won 3 MVPs, and then he averaged like 26, 10, and 6, shooting like 50, 40, 90 damn near. And he was a plus defender. And he went at everybody. The dude could pass better than almost everybody in the league. He could shoot better than anybody in the league. He could dribble, and he defended his tail off. And on top of that, he played in Boston.
Only off ball, Swiper. Only off ball.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
But I'm saying, I'm just saying, Bird wasn't. He's not like.
The question I wanted to ask is, to what you were just talking about. If Bird and Magic don't show up, is the NBA what it is today?
No.
It falls apart. The NBA was a failing business. Respectfully, it was a failing business. And it started in college when they met up in the championship game. And it started there when Larry Bird was able to get that Indiana State team to the national championship game to play Magic. Now they lost, but like that's where it started. Like, and then it carried over to the NBA. They somehow ended up being on the 2 most storied franchises to that point.
Right.
Coincidence. Like everything just lined up perfectly, and that's why I think you have to put them together.
Magic almost didn't come out in the draft too.
They both for me, you have to put them together. Right. They both saved the league. They both turned the league around and helped it become what it became. And then in terms of just like impact, in terms of long term, Larry Bird was like one of the first, not the first, but one of the first do it all wings. One of the first who he could defend, like team defender, but could defend. He was shooting. He was playing off the ball. He was playing on the ball. He was passing. He was rebounding. He was great in transition. He was great in the half. He was one of the first wings that could do everything on the court. So like now we got all this. We love versatility in the game today. Larry Bird was one of the people who pioneered that. Now I understand the guy from the Lakers. Now you got these 6'9" playmakers, but Larry Bird was a 6'9" playmaker too. He
Sure.
just did it without all the dribbling and stuff, but he was a 6'9" playmaker. He saw the floor just as well as anyone. You could I wouldn't make the argument, but you could make an argument that he was, if not a better passer than Magic, he was close.
In half court.
You could make the argument, like, that's how good of a passer he was. And then he could score, he could shoot. Like, for me, Larry Bird has to be there next to the other guy. I don't, separating them, I don't see it. For me,
I don't think that you talked enough about how important it was as a white guy to win over black people at that time. Right? It was very important because, again, there's a reason why if you open up the newspaper back in the days where you saw like basketball articles or whether it was scores or anything, they were called cagers. And the reason why is because they played at the park and around the fence, it was considered a cage. So it was a very black sport. So for a white guy to be accepted by black people at that level was a big deal. Was a huge deal because a guy like Larry Bird, who, when we're talking about middle America, not just middle America, when we're talking about America and in the NBA arenas more than anything, most of those people in the arenas did not look like me. They looked like him. And they wanted people who were on the floor who were good to relate to and in terms of looking like them. And Bird was able to do that. Now, the difference is Bird wasn't just a pawn, right? Bird wasn't just a sideshow. He could actually play. That's what helped more than anything. Because if Bird was just out there as a figurehead, then it really wouldn't have held any weight. But the fact that he was really good and he was good at everything, and then to your point, when you mix in another guy who's the antithesis of him, and not personally, but the antithesis of him, I mean, I think that's a recipe for success. That's why the NBA is what it is today. Sure.
Save the NBA.
And remember, Shannon Sharp has said repeatedly, and he's Chill's age, he grew up with Magic, Mike, Charles, Malone, all of them. He said, Larry Bird, my favorite player. Shannon Sharp from Savannah, Georgia. He ain't see white. He ain't see white except he went to the store. Like, he went to an HBCU, everything else. And Shannon Sharp, to the point where he's on Undisputed, even to this day, will tell you, like, my favorite player at that time was Larry. He had a Larry poster from Indiana.
It wasn't easy to recognize, like, outwardly that, you know, Bird is nice because you're around a bunch of black people and you have to root for Magic. You gotta root for Moses. You gotta root for Jabbar. But inside, you're like, yo, this dude from Boston is nice as hell. Yo, we can't keep fighting this, B. This dude can play, and we gotta start recognizing how good he is. But on the outside, the hell with Larry Bird. He plays for the Celtics. But as time went on, it's, you know what? Stop it, yo. This dude is super nice. You guys,
he transcended the Boston market. Because I'll tell you, I don't like the Boston market. But I'm not like the Boston market. Not the people. The people are wonderful in Boston, but the legacy of that city is terrible. And I've never been a Boston fan of anything. Like, I've never in my life, Chill. But Larry, sometimes you get players, they supersede that. I like Brady. Brady was my dude. Like, love watching him play. Larry was just one of them dudes. Like, I don't care where he is. He could have played in LA, and I would have thought the same thing.
Hey, Chill. So Boston was hated.
Absolutely. Was one as I don't know if you know this, Ron, but it's one of the most racist cities, especially in the 70s, where busing started, and I believe it's called Southie. That's the south side of Boston, where it was not popular. It was not popular at all. And the fact that Bird was able to transcend that and bring black and white people together just from basketball. Just from basketball alone, he was able to bring black and white people together. It was a pretty big deal. And not just transcending from Boston, just moving down the East Coast, and now throughout the country, where black people are now watching Larry Bird and now become a fan of his, which now becomes a fan of the NBA, as opposed to people hating him off the strength that he's white, no, off the strength that he plays for the Celtics. No, it's, this dude is really helping basketball and he's really helping society. And so when you talk about guys being
prior to Bird, them white boys in Boston weren't liked. Chill.
No, they were not.
Cousy wasn't well loved. McHale wasn't well loved. None of them were.
No, they were.
That's what I was actually asking though. Like, with Bird, were they still disliked, or when did it get to the point where it was just like you had to accept them, or did you just hate them throughout the whole time but just knew that they were just undeniable?
When he said that Magic was the best he'd ever seen, it became more of a community, because not only was he recognizing Magic as awesome as Magic was, but Magic recognized him too.
They embraced each other.
Yes,
that made it better.
Yes, when he said that about Magic, that's when it became more that Bird is for lack of a better term, Ron, he one of us.
Yeah.
That's what
they would literally remember. Magic shared a story too. Like if Bird was in there for 5, I try to be in there for 6. You know, Bird got there at 6, I try to get there at 5. Like they were like friendly, competitive, and I think that's what also made it to where it wasn't divisive as it could have been. Because had they not liked each other and had they said nasty stuff about each other in public, then that would have fed into the discourse that Chill was talking about. You know, now LA versus Boston, white versus black. You know, like who you riding for. But then when they embraced each other and then they were competitive and they fought in the NBA Finals. That's what made it so pure, like to watch them do that. And honestly, Chill, had Larry Bird had 3 more years in him, 3 more years, he might be he would be closer to the GOAT conversation than people realize. Like I just don't think people realize at his apex how good Larry Bird was.
Yeah, that back injury really threw a monkey wrench in everything. It did.
All right, y'all. Well, definitely a big shout out to Larry Bird. As we all know, one of the GOATs, one of the best players to ever play, one of the best small forwards, and ultimately, once again, the Great White Hope. So shout out to him. Also, shout out to all of our members. Shout out to our subscribers. Shout out to our Hall of Famers, Jerry Reality, our newest Hall of Famer, Arch, Kendall Daniels, Multi Kenny, Cobra Son of Raditz, and Dorian Clayton. Big ups to y'all. Like the video if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Shout out to everybody that sent through super chats too. We will get to those in a second. But before we do that, it's time to get to the next person on the list. And I'm going to do this guy a favor by typing his name on the list. This is what we have right now. We got Wilt at 9. Larry Bird at 8. And at number 7, we have.
Drum roll, please.
What?
7
over Larry? Who 7. I didn't put him on my list. Who put him on the list?
So hold on. Before
I absolutely got Kobe on my list.
Before we talk about Kobe, I do want to say the only people that voted for Larry Bird was you, Mars, and you, Swiper.
Chill.
So we just had, because I want to clarify. I had Birds and the other guy neck and neck, but I had them above where I have Kobe. But I had Kobe on my list. But so one spot doesn't bother me, but neither of them in the top 5. I'm very interested to see what this top 5 looks like.
All right. Now, to be fair, I mean, the only reason I didn't have Kobe because there's some other names that are obviously like whatever. But yeah, I mean, Kobe was transcendent and just across the board. Yeah. And I think Kobe would, I think Kobe was entering his apex influence when he retired. Like, and then when he ended, like his life ended, like when he was 40, like he was his I think from 2017 on with the Mamba Academy, with how international he was, I think Kobe was stepping into his bag of being able to speak more. He was speaking Spanish, Slovenian, English. I think he was literally headed towards being the literal ambassador of basketball, not the NBA, like a basketball. I think Kobe was transitioning like away from being just this mogul and this Laker and this great basketball player, but he was becoming the phenotype for everything basketball stood for. And he spoke another thing about Kobe that is so underappreciated. He never post-career spoke negatively about anybody. He was only affirmative. He only tried to help people. He only tried to uplift people. He was not one of them old heads that was jealous of anybody. He never tried to like defame somebody else's career. He gave Michael props. He gave LeBron props. He was giving Luka props. He gave Giannis and Jokic props before they even boomed. Like Kobe had a different vision about what basketball meant and how it brought people together. And I think some of this though is from growing up in Italy, obviously going to Philadelphia and then being kind of raised in the NBA from 17 on. I just think he has so much life experience that it just changed the way, even the transition from 8 to 24. There were stages of Kobe's life, and you noted I haven't even talked about the Nike stuff. I haven't even talked about the Olympics. Like there's a whole different like side, the Kobe versus LeBron commercials, all that stuff. That's the basketball stuff. But I think Chill, Mars, and Ron from a cultural impact standpoint, I think for the last few years of Kobe's life, he had really started to unwind as a human being. And I think even with the Oscar he won with the documentary that he did, the stuff he started doing with kids, like Kobe just moved to just moved to a different level.
Did you value that stuff when thinking about if you were going to put Kobe on the list, or did you just think strictly in the NBA? Like, was that your mindset?
So that's the thing. I think some of that is I did, but I think the people that I have on there, I think just collectively had more. But I'm also like not. But I to be fair, I also sent him the first 5 names that I really thought about, and I thought about Kobe, but then I just whatever. But I'm more so like the person at the top. I'm gonna do a whole run for it because I just think that like he just he set everything ablaze.
Yeah, there's one. I'm expecting someone to show up later, and I want to piggyback on the point of they never disrespected anyone, like the modern game, the past game. The one coming up later, I'm gonna say the same thing about them. But that was absolutely the truth about Kobe. I had Kobe on my list because what he was doing for the women's game was he was elevating the women's game more than any NBA player, anyone. I think personally was doing at that time. What he was doing post-retirement with his daughter, like you said, the Mamba Academy, all of those things to try and uplift the women's game. He, like, you could see he just loved basketball. Like, it was uplifting the game of basketball. Like you said, he was on his way to becoming the ambassador of the sport.
Question, Mars, I want you to keep going on real quick. George Mikan was the commissioner of the ABA. Is it ridiculous for me to think that Kobe could have been the commissioner of the WNBA at some point? Is that ridiculous?
I wouldn't have been shocked if they offered him that role in some capacity, and I wouldn't be shocked if he would have turned it down because not because he doesn't love the game, but because maybe I think he loves it so much. I don't know if he feels he would have been the best fit for being a commissioner. Like, he just wants the best for the game of basketball, whether that's him involved or him not involved. It was all about basketball for him. Right. And then for me, so you got that impact on the women's side of things. Then you got the international impact, the cultural impact. When he passed, I know, like the saying, everyone remembers where they were when this happened. Mm-hmm. Everyone remembers where they were when Kobe passed. Mm-hmm. I'm different because I wasn't in the US, but where I was stopped, where I was, and I'm not in the US, it's different over here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was when Kobe passed, it was like everyone lost something. Like, even if you weren't involved in basketball because you knew Kobe and you knew what he stood for in terms of the Mamba mentality and all of those things, and you like everyone, when you hear people talk about Kobe and the mentality thing, it's like, even if you weren't involved in sports or you weren't involved in basketball, you could take from his mentality and apply it to your own life. Mm-hmm. So like when I think about influence, it's like that's what influence is. People taking what you've done in your career, in your realm, and applying it to their lives, and their lives improving because they follow your blueprint, for example. And then you got on the court, you got players today saying Kobe is my favorite player. I modeled my game after Kobe. I worked with Kobe. It was all about the footwork, the skill, all of those things. Like, he impacted the players of today. He's impacted people around the world. He's impacted people in Europe, in Asia, in Africa. He even involved with football, like soccer, even involved with that. And like, it's like he had a hand in everything. Everyone around the world was impacted in some way by Kobe Bryant. So like, I couldn't leave him off the list. Now I ended up having him. I think I ended up with him 4th because I think overall, in terms of his impact on the NBA, I think was just slightly lesser than the guys I had above him in terms of the way the game changed and all those things. But for me, not having Kobe on the list, I'm curious to see what players you guys had above him, because for me, he has to be on the list.
I had Kobe at 5, and one of the main reasons, obviously, as a talent, Kobe might be the most skilled player ever. And so on the court, he showed us different things that we had never seen. He unlocked different tools, the rip through, the pump faking 5 times and getting the shot off. Like it was different things that Kobe just brought to the game in terms of just skill wise. But the biggest thing for me with Kobe was the mentality.
Yeah,
literally, this generation is all Kobe. Literally every Giannis, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, all of these guys are, if you will, carbon copies of Kobe. And not because they essentially play like Kobe or anything of that nature or have a Kobe type of build or archetype. It's more so the Mamba mentality that he ingrained into everybody. Like that, it's almost a popular thing now to work hard. It's a popular thing now to, want to be locked in and things like that, to get to the gym early. Like everybody wants to be like Kobe when it comes to that. But then also kind of how you guys said Kobe giving back to the game. Remember Kobe started giving people lists of accomplishments to do?
Yeah.
Remember he said, Giannis, you got to do this. I think it was a bunch of guys. You guys remember that?
Yeah, he told Giannis,
goals
when they win a championship, he told Jokic to win an MVP in 17.
Yeah. I think Jason Tatum was on that list too. And then also, Kyrie Irving, Kyrie's Kobe's dude. They had a little connection and stuff like that. So it's just dope to see how he influenced literally the players that are running the NBA right now.
Sure.
So part of that was a major reason why I put him on my list. But then it also, I had to think that Mamba mentality even superseded basketball. You got people that aren't even in the sport that acknowledge Kobe and acknowledge his Mamba mentality.
Oh, the corporate world love Kobe. Love Kobe.
It's crazy. What's her name? Naomi Osaka. Did you guys see her? So she played in the tournament.
You can educate me.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll put it on the screen. She played in a tournament with she was playing doubles with a dude from Australia. I can't remember his name. But they were playing doubles. They both came out in Kobe jerseys and literally played the doubles in Kobe jerseys. Dude had the 8 Kobe jersey on. She had the all black Kobe jersey on with the 8 on the front, the 24 on the back. But it's just like to be able to start impacting people outside of your sport just goes to show you how influential you have to be in your sport. And Jordan has done that to a certain extent as well, to a major extent. But Kobe's is just crazy. It's not just his game. Like Kobe's game is kind of, to me, it's slept on. I don't think we talk enough about Kobe's game, but we do talk about his mentality and how he was just essentially a killer. And so that to me is why he has to be on the list.
I can get with that, sure. One of the main reasons as fans we talk about players because we want to see them do everything that we can't do, and we want to see them empty it. And you see a lot of players today. I just heard Kendrick Perkins talking about he regrets not being in the gym more. He regrets not working on this more because it could have extended his career. That wasn't the case with Bryant. Bryant showed up, and from the beginning to the end, everything, you got all of it. There was nothing left on the table from the minute he showed up until the end when he left. And the major problem that people had with him was he wanted to be better than Jordan. Can you imagine ridiculing somebody who wants to be better than the best ever? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I want to be better than the best to ever do it, and then ridiculing them for it. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. The fact that what he brought to the game, and not only what he brought to the game, his work ethic. I am going to outwork each and every one of you. And I'm not just going to do it once. I'm not just going to do it twice. This is my mantra. This is who I am. Because at the end of the day, I can't be better than you. I'm not going to try to be better than you. My existence depends on me being better than you. In order for me to do that, I have to work harder than you. So whatever you do, it's not going to match what I do. And then what that did was that resonated throughout society. Now, don't get me wrong. Sure, the Mamba mentality was created by a situation that he created, but so what? So what? And with him doing that, he enabled a bunch of different people who, I got to get up and go to work today. I really don't feel like it. But now my mentality, which is the Mamba mentality, get up and go do it. Go get it done. Don't leave anything else on the table. Make sure that you empty it. And when you're talking about women's basketball, the fact that his daughter played women's basketball and she was actually a good player, I think that actually enhanced his love for the game, because what he did was not only did he fall in love with the women's game, he fell in love with all of these girls playing too. That, listen, I want all of you girls to be great, not just my daughter. I want all of you girls to be great, because I see my daughter in all of you. And because I see my daughter in all of you, I'm going to pour everything I am into all of you. And I thought that was a big deal from him. Bryant is definitely one of the most influential people, not just ball players, but influential people that I've ever seen in my life. No doubt about that.
You can have all the gripes with his game. It's like he wasn't consistently that elite level defensively over the course of all 48 minutes. Sometimes he would wait to turn it on, or sometimes he made bad decisions. He would take double team shots or whatever. You could say he wasn't efficient, even though no matter how many times people keep proving that wrong, you want to keep saying it. Whatever, have your grievances with his game. The one thing you can't have a grievance with, you can't say he could have been more. You can't say that. There's no human being on this planet who will say Kobe Bean Bryant didn't achieve everything he could have achieved. That's the one thing you can't say. If you want to say he was a shot chucker, you want to say he didn't pass the ball, you want to say that sometimes he took some plays off defensively, you want to say that he was carried by Shaq. The one thing you can't say is that he didn't do everything he was capable of doing. You can't say that. People say
it's
about
not true.
Shaq could have been more. This guy could have been more. If this guy had Vince Carter, if he had the work ethic, he could have been this. You can't say that about Kobe. He squeezed every ounce of what he could have been out of his career until his body said you can't do it anymore. He left his whole body on that floor.
And that's why Shaq him had issues. That's exactly why Shaq
one thing you can't say about Kobe. So that's why he on my list.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you guys are hip to this. Shout out to the Mamba League Invitational. Obviously, he has the Mamba Academy with his women's teams or his young ladies teams, and that's in AAU and all of that good stuff. But he also has a Mamba League Invitational that they started last year. And it's actually, believe it or not, on the 23rd, which is tomorrow, which happens to be Kobe's birthday, and August 24th, which obviously is 8/24. That's an amazing day on our calendar. Hey, real basketball enthusiasts have that day circled on their calendar. But the Mamba Invitational is obviously dedicated to the memory of, well, the legendary basketball player that we love, Kobe Bryant, and his remarkable legacy. This invitational is obviously it's invitational, so highly anticipated players, high school players are invited. They play in LA, and it's just an exciting experience from what I've seen last year. You know, things in their first year, they don't really have that big of just acknowledgement from people, but it was so good last year that I think it's starting to build up anticipation and stuff like that. So we'll see how it looks tomorrow, and then we'll see how it looks also on the 24th or in following years and stuff like that. But I'm gonna have my eyes peeled for it. I think Bron's what's Bron's youngest son? He's playing in it.
Max.
Bryce
Maximus. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bryce. He's gonna play in it, and some other cool high school players. So we'll see how this grows and what it turns into. But shout out to the Mamba Invitational.
My only gripe with Kobe is that he ain't here. That's the only thing that I have a problem with. The fact that he ain't here. And that ain't even his fault. But that's the only gripe that I had. He ain't here. All of this stuff that's going on, right? He should have been here for this, man. And that's the biggest problem that I have is that he ain't here. He should have been here for this. That's it.
And I also mentioned this earlier. I'm gonna put this on the screen so you guys can see it. This is just the type of influence that you have for you to influence soccer or tennis players, and a dude that's not even from America, from Australia, that's a tennis player.
Yeah.
And please welcome Naomi Osaka.
From Australia, please welcome Nick Kyrgios.
Dope.
Shout out to them.
Yep. Can't hear you, Ron. You muted.
Let's get on to the next player. I wish we could talk about Kobe all day, but we got to keep on with the list. And I do want to let you guys know that we're at 141 likes. We will not move on to the top 5 until we get over 350 likes.
Get them up.
So,
get them up.
Y'all,
get them up. Get them up.
Y'all got some. Hey, y'all got some work to do.
Get them up. Get them up.
Don't be late like Cox. All right, y'all got some work to do.
Get them
be
up.
Early like Kobe. Don't be late like Cox.
That is crazy. Extorting the chat.
Yeah, that's wild.
They're extorting us. What you mean? Y'all on their side? Hey, chat.
I always side with the chat.
You're always on their side, Ron. How many times have you told us that the chat clears? How many times have you said that? But now you holding up the show. You got out your car in the middle of rush hour traffic, and you're gonna leave the car right in the middle of the road, and the car ain't moving. And the car is not moving until you play my song on the car in
rush hour traffic.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, but that's different.
This dude is wild as hell right here. So.
This something else. This something else, Ron.
like the video. All right, we had 206. All right. Oh, hey, we almost there. We almost there.
I just like the video. I liked it.
Yeah, we moving. We definitely moving. So,
Ox, you want to see the list so far?
Yeah, I only saw the last two. Let me see the whole thing. I've been moving around though.
We only got 3, but here's what it's looking like at this moment in time. We got Wilt Chamberlain at 9, Larry Bird at 8, Kobe Bryant at 7, and at 6.
Yeah, so I saw 7. I saw 7 and 8. I figured that'd be a 9. I mean a 10. There's no 10.
There's no 10, not yet. We only gave 9 names between us. Ron, who are the people who gave their top 5s?
Us.
Just us 5? Okay. So yeah, we got 9 names. We got 9 names between us.
Okay.
So
okay. So okay. Cool.
Do you have any comments, thoughts on Wilt, Larry, Kobe being 9, 8, and 7?
That sounds about right. I would expect Kobe to maybe be
a little bit higher.
Yeah, maybe 5. But I mean, with that being said, I didn't have him in my top 5. So
it was just me and Ron.
No, I had him in mine too.
Oh, me too and Ron. Okay.
Yeah, I had him in mine too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that looks about right.
I had him in mine too. So that's
what up, Eddie?
That's what it is. 100%. So
all right, moving along. This one may be surprising to you guys, but he did not crack the top 5.
I feel like I know who's gonna say.
We have another Laker.
Yeah, he's gonna say Bron.
Magic Johnson.
Wow. Okay, interesting.
Oh, what are y'all doing?
Oh, so I know what the top. Wait,
don't spoil it, Morris.
Yeah, we know who the top 5 are.
And Morris.
I don't know who that 5th is. Okay, I think I do. Never mind.
Talk to us about Magic Johnson. You said this is the other guy you wanted to give it to.
I had him and Larry Bird tied. I had them both in my top 5. So I gave 6 names technically, but I'm sorry, I wasn't separating them. For the same reason. No, not the same reason, but him and Larry Bird coming together to save the NBA, not figuratively, literally saving the NBA. Everything he did for the Lakers, I mean, Showtime, him making it acceptable for a 6'9" guy to run your offense. Just the amount of point forwards we see following after him, the amount of guys who we see who are at that size running teams now. Magic Johnson was the first one to do such a thing. Just the impact he had being in the biggest market in America, in Los Angeles, doing all the things he did there. Then, I mean, beyond that, I mean, he was working in the front office. He's done media. You just see his face everywhere. Magic Johnson, he's another one who, in some regard, transcends the game of basketball. But I think just the reason I had them so high is because of the NBA wouldn't be the NBA without him and Bird. That's why I had to hold it in such high regard. It's the most impactful on basketball. A lot of the guys who came after them wouldn't be around or wouldn't be as known if it wasn't for them in the first place. So I think you have to have them both on the list personally, because there's no one from the 90s or the 2000s or the 2010s who I think even have that recognition if it wasn't for these two being able to save the NBA from going down a spiral where I don't even know how long they would have lasted if it wasn't for those two.
That's the question I got right there, Morris. And I wanted to ask you this specifically, Chief. Is that a little dramatic that they saved the NBA? Jordan was coming in 5 years. The NBA couldn't wait a couple more seasons for this.
The Lakers almost went bankrupt.
It was a flailing. It was a flailing 100%. It was a flailing business. Big Ox 100%.
Right. So the NBA would have lasted 4 more seasons.
If Magic and Bird don't show up and do what they did, we do not know the.
Remember, it was also a fairly new project. Remember, the ABA had came over several years prior to that. And so they were trying to combine both leagues. The league was faltering because nobody knew how to make money. Basketball was not football. Football was the apex sport in America. So making the American people subject themselves to watching 2.5 hours of dribbling the ball down the court. Television weren't even picking up all the games locally. So then you had people going into the stands to watch these games. Well, why am I going into this game to watch this game? Who are these players? The Lakers didn't have anybody. There was no marquee players outside of Philly and Boston for the most part. So once Magic and Larry come into the league, now we have TVs watching almost every game. They're all locally televised. The games are selling out. Now there's a whole storyline that they were able to build out between the two of those players. Oh, and then Magic wins the, Finals MVP basically as a rookie, and then he goes on one of the best rookie year runs of all time. And then Larry wins shortly right after that. And then you got the Boston Lakers thing going off again. And then Dr. Jerry busts, which is why Jeannie and Rob and all these other people are, and I respect Jeannie. I think she's done well to honor her father's legacy. But the rest of them kids, they've done terrible. Dr. Buss, honestly, is what saved the league. Dr. Buss is the one that brought the TV's money into the
He
play.
did do that. Yes, he
Dr.
did.
Buss is the one that worked out all these contract negotiation deals with all these people. Dr. Buss is the one that wanted them to go televise and marketing and cheerleading and all this stuff. He's the one that added all the pop and the show. The Showtime Lakers, Dr. Buss. But you don't get the Showtime Lakers without Magic. So he did it all.
Daddy.
He did it all.
Yes,
No
100%. Yes, 100% he
No
did. Now,
doubt.
I know this sounds crazy. As much Mars as Magic transcended the game, it wasn't accepted early. Yeah, 6'9" lead guard, handling the basketball.
Paul
That
Weston
wasn't
tried to
something.
move him to the 4.
Yes, and not even when he was successful, it still wasn't translating. Not just to the NBA, but basketball as a whole. If you 6'8", 6'9", you're still supposed to play on the block. This guy, Magic, okay, none of us can pass like that. None of us can handle like that. None of us can play like that. So this guy is one of one. None of you guys are going to be able to do that until you actually have guys coming along, bigger guards, that are able to do that. So it wasn't as popular as people think it is, but until it actually caught on, guys like Penny Hardaway, right? Even though Oscar Robertson was the first of the big guards at 6'5", but after a while, it started to catch on where people recognize, okay, we can do this like this. And it's a copycat league, right? So when you see a guy as good as Magic, okay, that's what winning looks like. So if that's what winning looks like, we have to find that. Unfortunately, there isn't anything like that. But it just wasn't accepted until it became accepted with guys like Penny Hardaway, bigger guys like Luka, guys like that. He birthed all of these guys. If he doesn't do that, then we don't have Tracy McGrady, we don't have LeBron James, we don't have Penny Hardaway, we don't have any of these guys. On top of all of that, what Swiper just said about the show, Magic was the ultimate showman. The ultimate showman. And when we're talking about selling a product, we're talking about making money, we're talking about bringing the people in. Well, how are we going to do that? The reason why football was what it was, it's not because people love the beautiful long ball. No, football is a collision sport. People love violence. They love to see that. And because they love to see that, they tune in. They're not tuning in because, they want to see a dump off pass. No, they want to see a guy get cracked. Well, how are we gonna sell basketball? We're gonna sell basketball because this 6'9", good-looking guy with a great smile, who's an awesome basketball player, who's in Los Angeles, which is Hollywood, he's gonna help us make basketball a bigger deal than what it already is. And we're gonna compound that with the ham and eggs white guy in Boston who lives on a farm, who doesn't do anything outside of basketball but farm work. We're going to put these two guys together, and we're going to make basketball bigger than it's ever been.
That's why they both have to be together for me.
Yes.
You had Magic pretty high on your list, right?
Yeah, I did.
You want to elaborate?
If I elaborate, I'm just going to be kind of repeating a lot of what's already been said. I did just ask the question if it was a little dramatic or if it's a little overstated about literally saving the NBA, but I've been hearing that all my life. You know what I mean? That these are the people that saved the league, so I believe it. Obviously, just his style of play. I only hate the Lakers because of Kobe and Shaq. Before that, you know what I'm saying? Before that, like Magic, Brian, you already know how I feel about Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is one of my favorite players of all time. Like, I love everything about Magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
especially for a cat like you, though, who actually is 6'8", 6'9", and can, you got a perimeter game, can pass very well. You one of the best passers that I've seen from a guy that's over 6'5". Yeah, so I know a lot of that came from Magic directly.
100%. Like I grew up on Magic Johnson. Like on my whole, my family's from LA, so I've always watched Magic tapes, like VHS tapes of Magic, and he's been very influential in my love for basketball. And so I couldn't make a list about influential players without putting Magic Johnson on there. Like is, I love everything about Magic's game. And once again, if I keep talking, I'm just going to be repeating what everybody else said. You know what I mean? So it's just the influence he had.
I was more so just asking you, like, what propelled him so high on your list? So for him to be number 2, it has to be something that just stands out like crazy.
Yeah, man, saving the NBA is serious, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Coming into the league and really, really putting on and just the influence of the Showtime Lakers. And I know Swiper was saying, Dr. Bust, this and that, Dr. Bust. And I appreciate Dr. Bust, but I don't think he had a product without Magic Johnson. So that's I think saving the league is serious business. I could have put him at 1, So,
Ox, I don't think we recognize the importance of things working out. Like when you push somebody to the forefront, like this has to work. If this doesn't work, we get sunk. Like this could sink us. And the fact that Magic worked out, the fact that Bird worked out, if these guys don't work out and this ends up being not necessarily, let's just say for the sake of argument, they were just good.
They were just okay.
Yeah, they were just good.
Or even if they were all-stars.
Right. That's not enough. Like they needed to be what they were in order for this thing to actually work.
But that's how timing has to work that way because the MLB was the same way with Jackie Robinson. I know we're talking basketball, but I don't think people realize that Jackie Robinson stepping into the league, he was not the best Negro League player at the time. He was one of the best. Sure. But Jackie Robinson had the persona to deal with all the trash that was about to come his way. That was the thing. Jackie Robinson was the one that could deal with it because he realized he had to have the poise to deal with all the nonsense and the racism he was getting thrown his way. Timing, matched opportunity, and then the right person stepped into the role. That's what Magic and Larry did. And then as we're going to get to this list, I'm going to clear all y'all. I don't know who y'all going to have at y'all's people, but I'm just, we're going to get there.
So who didn't have Magic on that list?
Real quick, before we answer that question, though, Ron, I do also want to bring up the fact that something we talked about yesterday. The aura of Magic Johnson, the smile of Magic Johnson, you know what I'm saying? That smile and the fact that he was so marketable, you know what I mean? And the businessman that Magic Johnson grew to be, you know what I mean? Like that stuff matters too.
Okay, so I'll start. I didn't have Magic on my list. I didn't have Magic or Larry on my list, or Will. Well, obviously, Will was only on one list.
Yo, Mars, send him to hell, Mars.
So wait, so is Ron the only one who didn't have Magic?
No.
Oh, okay. So you ain't have Magic.
I had Bird and Magic right outside the top 5. Both of them top.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to save the league is crazy, but I think these other guys, they may not have saved the league, but they all took the league to the next level. But also, too, like, for me, it was more so their influence just outside of just basketball in the league in general. I don't think
hard to equate. Yeah, especially like away from the US. I'm like
exactly.
Perspective. Yeah.
I mean, Converse. I mean, to be clear, Converse also was saved by Magic Johnson. So it's just the business side. There is no Converse today. There's no Wades. They're done. They're cooked. They had a basketball product all of a sudden because one person.
I did have a pair of weapons, by the way. Yes, I did.
Also, Larry Bird was only on 2 lists.
I 100% had
me and Swiper.
Yeah, you and Swiper were the only ones that had
we
put them as a tandem.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense why we would have Magic and Larry on our list.
What? Because y'all both light skinned?
That's crazy. See, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to see what's the connection.
I don't understand why. What are you saying, Swiper?
I ain't saying nothing. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Every time I come on here, colorism. What's going on? Why can't I just exist? Let me just be me.
Ron, you brought it up, Swiper.
I didn't say nothing. What did I say? What did I say?
You said it makes sense. I'm trying to figure out why. I can't wear a
hoodie. Matter of fact, because of chill. Let me tell y'all.
Here we go.
No. I'm just gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it. Because of chill. Every time I step onto this arena and I'm wearing a beige hat, a white outfit, anything that's just not completely dark, everybody says, beige Swiper, where your hat at? Knowing I got a hat on. Swiper, where your shirt at? Knowing I got a shirt on. And it all started because Chill said, me in that hoodie, I can't wear it because it matches my skin tone. I'm gonna look naked. That's why.
Oh, okay.
It all started in February. I just got on the show. I just got on the show, and I expected the elder statesman, the mentor of the group, to be the one to help us to follow the righteous and just path. Yeah, he led us astray.
No,
what's up?
Actually didn't. This is what it is. I'm sorry. This is what you walked into, brother. This is what's going on around.
Now look at the chat. Look at the chat. Look at the chat because of you. Look at the chat because of you.
This is what you walked into. So I'm sorry, Ron. As you were saying.
All right. Let's get back to it. I told you guys once before, and I'm gonna say it again. We're gonna transition to some super chats, but until we get 350 likes, you guys will not get the top 5. But as of right now, we're at 266, 267. So I think we can get there fairly soon. If not, we'll just do the list next week or something. I don't know. But as for super chats, let's go ahead and dive into these. This should be interesting. First off, I want to give another shout out to Joe Dapp. He started the show gifting 5 Players Choice membership. So shout out to you. You are a GOAT. Mitsu became a member today. Shout out to Mitsu. P. Sotil also became a member. Shout out to P. Sotil. Got another members chat from Steven. He's been around for 5 months. Steven said, that's the alternate universe Steve Harvey. Dub host, L Buddy. L Buddy.
Damn. Chose burner.
I do not have burner accounts.
Chill,
I do not.
You got to get a little more creative than that. Your burner can't just be a name. Your burner can't just be Steven.
Right. Yeah, you gotta lock in, man. You gotta make it something cool.
Like I said, I don't have.
It's gotta be like the name from yesterday. Chill. What was that name? I remember. Oh man, I can't remember.
Tubby Wubby.
Something like
Fluffy,
that.
Fluffy
I don't have any burner accounts.
So it was fire.
Ugly Buddy. It was something like that. I don't know.
Nope.
Ugly Buddy is crazy.
Yo, it was something like that. All right, moving along. Tank Jones said, bald.
And I think it's dope because when we talk about the list, we're going to get into that. So, whatever. So,
I don't understand. Like I think as you get older, and I think you realize that some of the most popular men of all time were bald, and on top of that, like, bro, I'm a grown man, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is life. Like, we living, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm living very well too, and I look great as a bald man. You know what I mean? And I cut it off in the pandemic. Because what's the point of going to the barbershop? Now if I had locks like Ox or something like that, I wouldn't have cut it off. But I'm not going to the barbershop no more.
So you didn't do the bald look until
not until 2020, bro. Not until 2020. Just no point. But then saving $35 in a haircut, I was like, it just makes more sense. And we couldn't go in anyway.
Like I think, like what does I ain't been in a barbershop in over 20 years. So how much does a haircut cost today?
35. If depending on what you want, I'm getting it. So I get a box. I get a shadow fade, or I get a like a box fade. So I mean, that's about 35.
Damn,
35 minimum for sure. It's gonna be at least 35.
How much when you get your hair done? How much is it? Or does your lady do it?
Yeah, she does my actual like my locks, but when I go get a lineup in a taper though, that's for sure $40.
Mars, and when you go to the barber,
I'm saying the same thing, Mars. What
for a lineup?
Damn.
I don't want to know what
it's inflation. It's inflation.
Ron, you got a Leon, so you tax.
Weak. But like my barber, I was one of the. I don't want to say I was one of the first people he cut because he was cutting since like high school. But when it was one of my coach's sons. And I was a freshman in college, and I was a sophomore actually, and he was a sophomore in high school, and he used to come into the locker room and cut all our hairs and stuff like that. So I literally seen him grow from being a young kid to growing and being one of the biggest barbers in Seattle. So like, I'm like, I supported you this whole way. I'm not gonna stop supporting you now.
Hey, shout out Marcus House of Hair. Started cutting my hair at 13 years old, and to this day he owns House of Hair. He was 21 when he got started, and he owns the shop now. And
where's he? That's in Denver.
House of Hair in Denver. Yeah, in Park Hill on I think on like 20, maybe 26 in like Leiden, maybe something like that.
Shout out.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna give a shout out to my guy Leon Polo Cuts. He's in Seattle. If you need to get your hair cut and you want to get it cut by the best barber in the Pacific Northwest, go check him out.
Ron, also drop a shout out and a link to the where you get your wings from at 1 a.m. on Seattle nights. Where's that place at?
It's a wing spot. You got the wing spot. What's going on?
Man, get them. No, they got the dill pickle wings. You can get the dill pickle hot. Crazy.
What's the adding location, Ron?
He talking about Thomas Street. Shout out to Thomas Street. Or it's another spot up the way in the Soto district called Kittens. You can go there too. And
go
to Thomas Street.
Well, I mean, you can go there. I'm saying like that's where I'm gonna be at, but I don't know if y'all want to go there.
You can't be in there anyway, bro. You.
All right.
Standing eye to eye with people, bro. People in the front row can't see, bro.
Sit down, Ox. Trying to enjoy the show.
Look, Ox up there trying to do this or whatever. Like, bro, we can't see nothing. Sit down.
Front, big man. Hey, big fella, down in the front.
Hey, chill.
Chill. Hear you in the background.
What you doing?
Get out the way.
Ox, remember yesterday, chill. Ox talking about Wilt trying to corner the market. Well, he Wilt compared to everybody else.
I'm trying to call Honey over. She can't see me because big man in front of her. Big man in front of him, and I'm trying to call Honey over so I can get a dance. Nope, I can't get it. Why? Because big fella in front of him.
That moving screens too. Chill. She walking this way. He moving this way. She coming this way. He doing this. Like,
I'm first team all this defense. I'm moving my feet. I'm moving my feet.
All right, so moving along. Worldwide Mace TV said at Chill, if Len Bias and Reggie White don't die, do the Bulls run off 6 championships in the 90s, or do the Celtics go toe-to-toe with the Bulls? Dub host Ron, double dub host Mars, double dub host Mars. Shout out to Swiping for that dope interview, and I hope to hear.
One,
maybe
it's Reggie Williams. It's not Reggie White. It's Reggie Williams. And 2, I don't think so. The way that Red Auerbach was building that crew, I don't know if he would have been able to get Reggie Williams at that time, even though as good as they were in '88. I don't know if he would have been able to get him, but he probably would have. But that Bulls team, the way that they were building it, and a lot of you guys talk about Jordan not being, or Len Bias being as good as Jordan. He wasn't better than Jordan. And what Jordan turned into with him being a competition, with him pushing him, I think it's a lot to talk about, considering. So Bird doesn't stay. I want to make sure we clear on that. Bird said in '88, had Lenny lived, he would have quit. Instead, he played 5 more years. But if Lenny would have been gone, Bird would have quit in '88. So that 30, I think it was 30-10 in 30 and 10 season where he went 50, 40, 90. That season doesn't exist because Bird's gone after that, right?
Why did he say he would have quit?
Because that's how good he felt about Len. In fact, he said he was coming. He said he was coming to rookie camp. Had the Celtics picked Len Bias, he said he was coming to rookie camp, which is unheard of. It's like Jordan saying, "Yo, if we end up picking Shaq in the draft, I'm coming to rookie camp." That Jordan. So that was unheard of for dudes to do that. But with the way that team was constructed, with the Bulls team, you're asking if Len Bias would have been as good as Jordan. I don't know if he would have been as good as Jordan. I don't.
We wouldn't have to be as good for them to win, though. He just would need to be in the ballpark. Like Charles was in the ballpark in '93, but just wasn't.
Man, he was at it. He was at it. That was the best version of Charles, and it still wasn't good enough. So, if we're talking about Len Bias, who I think he was a franchise player, 100%, money mid-range game, could finish at the rim. He was a damn good one-on-one player also, ridiculous athlete. For him to get better and for Jordan to get better and to get Reggie Lewis, I mean, I think they would have been competitive. But what the Bulls turned into with Scottie Pippen turning into what he turned into, the trades that they made, it would have been difficult to slow down that train, especially in the 90s.
I was a child when that happened, but that was just a horrible story when that
I'll never forget it for as long as I live, Swiper. It was 3 days before I'm in the 7th grade going into the 8th grade, and it was 3 days before school was about to end. And we had watched the draft. the day before, we had watched the draft the day before, and literally the next day, my buddy, his name's Roscoe, God rest his soul, he says to me, "Yo, did you hear? Did I hear what?" This is the next day. He's like, "Yo, Len Bias died."
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean Len Bias died? What are you talking about? He's like, "Yeah, he passed away yesterday." I'm like, "Get the hell out of it." I'm 13 years old at that time. I'm like, "No, he didn't. You lying." And it was all over the news. It was everywhere. I was like, "Oh shit," because I was really excited about him coming to the Celtics, because this is a time, Ron, when we grew up with college players. Like, guys went to school. In the process of them going to school, we looked forward to them playing in the NBA, to seeing what they were going to look like in the NBA. Like, we don't have that today. Guys go right to the league. Like, we grow up with these guys. Grew up with Ewing, grew up with Len Bias, Jordan, and guys like that, and looking forward to seeing what they're going to be in the NBA. And I was looking forward to seeing what Lenny was going to look like in the NBA. And when he passed away, it was real traumatic.
Yeah, it was, and I believe that was the first time he had ever tried a hard drug like that. The first that was at least the story that was being
no,
told.
he actually had done it before. It just wasn't to that extent. The drug that he had, it was purer than what it was.
Right.
And it ended up killing him.
He ingested it,
Yeah, and it ended up killing him.
Yeah,
that's one of those things where if you could go back in time, I wish I could go in that room in 1986 and start a fight and get him up out of there. I wish I could do that, because I would have 100%.
Julius Irvin with the super chat. Julius said, "What impresses me a lot is Kobe had confidence and courage to prove everyone wrong who said he couldn't win without Shaq. To be at the top of the mountain, climb back down, and get back to the top is legendary."
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. 100%.
What impresses me the most is it's not even without Shaq. It was with Shaq. To have the audacity to basically be like, really, like, I'm better than you. Like,
that was really going on, Ron. That was really going on.
Yeah, that's what ruined it, Ron.
Yeah, but sure ruined it, but it was still, I mean, it's still impressive to me. Like that bro.
Well, do you think Shaq more ruined it or Kobe ruined it, Ox?
Kobe.
You think Kobe ruined it?
Yeah, I know Kobe ruined it. It's coming out. Yeah.
I think it's
here's the thing, Swiper. Like, during that time, and remember who we're talking about, right? We're talking about Shaq being a superstar, Bryant being the younger, and him recognizing later on, once they won that championship, he was recognized as just moving into that role of being the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Bryant was like, I'm not that other guy. I'm better than that.
Yeah.
And I won't be treated like that. I'm much better than the number 2 on a championship.
Do you think that's because
it was a complimentary player?
Behind the scenes stuff more so, like Kobe just saw what Shaq was doing and was just like, I'm way more committed to this than you are. So I'm you know what I mean? Like it was
not help.
Even though on court, Shaq was the best player in the world, but like it's like Kobe was like,
that didn't
you
help.
come into camp and you out of way, and I'm good, bro. No, you are not better than me, and you ain't gonna be better than me because I know I'm going at this every day.
Mm-hmm. That did not help.
Yeah, that's one of those things like you feel like, bro, mind your business.
No.
Like I'm eating out here. Like I'm doing my thing on the court.
He is eating. He was eating.
Yeah, I'm eating. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I'm eating a little bit. Like you go do your thing. And I'm gonna do my thing.
How old was Shaq when he went to Miami, Ox? 32?
32 years old.
I don't know.
32. I remember seeing him, and I was like, "Oh shit, he looked like Shaq from like 2000." He had dropped like 30 pounds. He looked great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looked fantastic. Yes, he did.
But you know, Kobe was too. I think, Ox, to your point, I think Kobe was young. He was just maniacal. So like,
and remember what he was doing too. Remember what he was doing too, Swiper. When we're talking about him. What he was chasing a ghost. Mm-hmm. And I can't get there if, one, I'm playing with Shaq, who is the best player, when I'm trying to work my ass off to be better than this guy. And the consensus is he's the best player. When I'm busting my ass every day and I'm coming into work every day, but the idea was to win. And because they were winning, that wasn't enough. That was not enough. The idea was, yo, not only are we winning, I'm the man too.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you really shoot yourself in the foot trying to prove a point. And it's like
he would have never taken a back seat to him, though. And even though he should
why
have,
wouldn't he?
Even though he should have after 2004, he's just like Jabbar did with Magic, had he taken a back seat to him. I don't know if we know Bryant the way we know him today, but I do know that they would have won more.
Well, I think the thing is that you know, we're gonna get to LeBron at some point if he made the list. I don't know, but that's the thing about LeBron though. Like, and I'll say like LeBron legit tried, even though like when he would talk to Kyrie, he'd be like, yeah, you know, I love the kid type thing. That's why Kyrie was pissed. Like, what you mean I'm a kid? Like, I'm a grown man, bro. Like, I think Kyrie's 33, if I remember correctly. 32, 33. Like, you ain't that much older than me, bro. Talking about like kid. And remember, and what did it? See, the thing is, Shaq had some reason for personal stuff, but chill. What did it for Kyrie was when them reporters was like, did LeBron like a father figure to you? No, you know what I mean? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, what you mean? Is he a dad? I got a dad.
I already have one of those.
My father's in my life.
Yeah, Swiper. I understand that, but it's like for Kyrie to get all upset and be ready to throw it all away because of a reporter asked that question it's insane. Like,
but it wasn't just that.
Sometimes it's the insecurity of somebody that makes you go overboard. You know what I mean? It's like you don't got nothing to prove to nobody, bro. You a grown man. You can stand on your own. Be a grown man. You don't gotta go all out and but I'm a man. Like, bro, relax. You know
but Kyrie did apologize later too.
Yeah, he apologized later because in hindsight, you understand when I was a child, I was doing childish things. You know what I'm saying? Like, sit down sometimes.
It's a lot harder than what it looked like.
Now, y'all, everybody move.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when you a man, you don't need to tell everybody I'm a man. Like, bro, we know.
Right.
We understand, bro. Like, calm down,
but
bro.
For the record,
you still a little homie though. Like,
yes.
Literally in every way imaginable. You're shorter and you're
to your point, Ox. The dude the dudes that's talking the loudest about being a man, those are the softest ones. Always.
You more often than not.
Always.
Also too though,
those are the softest ones.
You gotta understand that vigor and that like audacity to walk in a room with your chest out and stuff like that with guys like Kobe, guys like Kyrie, and we can go down a laundry list of guys. That's what makes them who they are though. Like that, it's them coming into the league. Like, no, I'm trying to prove that I'm the best player in the league. And not only am I trying to prove it, I know that you can't mess with me. I know you can't mess with me. I know I'm better than you, and I know one day I'm gonna be better than you as well. That's what makes these guys who they are. If Kobe didn't come in the league thinking that he could get with Shaq or thinking that he was the best player in that Lakers team, it would have been we wouldn't be talking. He wouldn't be on this list. It wouldn't be no Mamba mentality and most influential and all of that stuff. It wouldn't be no 24 without 8 Kobe Bryant basically having the nuts to be like, yo, can't nobody in this league get it. Nobody.
Yeah, Ron. But sometimes when you're trying to smell your piss before your nuts drop, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Relax, bro. You are gonna be him. We know that, but like. It's not your turn yet. Like, just keep playing your role, and it's gonna happen. We can win together. Some people would rather lose and prove that they the man than win and just play their position, bro. Like,
well, that's what Kyrie had always been the number one too. From out of Jersey, he was the number one. At Duke, he was the number one. Got to Cleveland, he was the number one, and it was not his plan. And I think that's really what it was. I did not sign up for LeBron to be here. I was not. That was not what I was told. Now you bring Andrew Wiggins in here, I'm good. I got a youngin under me that I can grow with.
He wanted to be the man. He did.
Yeah, see, he wants to lose.
Yo, Big Ox. The only thing on the mind of a shark is eat.
Facts.
All right.
Facts. You know, I understand that.
Moving along though in these super chats. Oh, and by the way, chat. Speaking of which, we're almost there. I told you guys 450, and we are this close to 450. So you guys keep working, 395. So y'all keep doing what you got to do, and then we'll get there when we need to get there. But
almost to 520, y'all. Keep going. Almost to 520.
The manipulation.
Hey, yo, Ron. Ron, I want to get through this list. It's almost one. I'm just letting you know. I really want to get through this list. I really do.
This man Ron said 350.
I want to say my piece on one of my people. It's important.
All right, well, Swiper, look. After the show, I'll text you the list.
No, bro, you tripping, bro.
Cozy Newton has been a member for 13 months. He sent through a member chat. He said, who had the best name in NBA history? Carmelo Anthony, Magic Johnson, OJ Mayo, etc.
Best name in NBA history?
We don't even call Magic. We don't even call Magic by his name anymore. Like, it's Magic.
I don't know. His mama named Irvin. I call him Irvin.
Yeah, it's Magic. Like, I'm sorry,
I think Pistol Pete has a cold name too.
Fire. Tractor Trailer too. That one was dope.
The best name?
Badass boy.
I think the Diesel was dope.
Diesel fire too, but that's a nickname though.
Diesel.
He said, but I mean,
actual name. It's got to be Kobe, Magic, Air Jordan. I mean, Jordan was like.
Well, to Ron's point, if you're talking about names, if I don't know nothing about basketball, and somebody tell me that the Lakers got a dude named James Worthy, that just sounds like a dude who could play.
I'm not gonna lie. Someone tell me that guy. Someone say there's a guy named World Be Free. Meta World Peace. I'm sorry, man. I'm here for that, man.
It's got to be Dr. J or Magic Johnson. Because like that's what we called him. That is their name.
Yeah, like when your nickname becomes your name, I think that's what makes you.
How often is Doc referred to as Julius as opposed to Doc?
Very rarely.
I don't remember the last time I heard someone.
Like that's who he is. That's Doc. That's not Julius.
Yeah, Dr. J is cold.
Yeah. And by the way, NBA, bring back the segment where you had their nicknames on the back of their jerseys. Bring that back, please. Yeah, that was dope.
What LeBron for King James that he had?
Yeah, that was dope. Jesus Shuttleworth.
That's just blasphemous. That's just blasphemous.
What's blasphemous?
No, nothing. Never mind.
Say it. No, say it. Come on. You standing for European names. You can't say it. King James. Are you a loyal Englishman? What's wrong?
No. Just nothing. Nothing at all. Leave me alone, bro.
Mello is also one of those other ones. I would never. LaMelo is not Mello. Mello is Mello.
No.
There's only one Mello.
Yeah, we know that.
All that nonsense. He got Mello everywhere. And they're like, oh yeah, Mello. Like, what Mello are you talking about? Who are you referencing? Because I need to know. There's only one Mello.
No, Carmelo Anthony is Mello. That's it.
I just use context cues. If someone's talking about the current NBA, I know they're talking about LaMelo, but we're talking all the time.
LaMelo, La and Mello.
I can call LaMelo. If we're talking about the Hornets' chances for next year, and I say Mello, and you're like, you talking about Carmelo? Respectfully, I'm just gonna call you.
Mars, respectfully, I'm drawing the nationalist border. I'm drawing the nationalist border in this conversation. This is not an Englishman's conversation. Mello in America means Carmelo. Okay?
I'm talking about
if you're about La Mello and LA Mello, then you can talk about La Mello. Just like I don't know if you've seen Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry said Liola. You're lying into the name. Liola. La Mello. La Mello.
No other Mello was recognized besides Carmelo Anthony.
Facts.
If you say Mello, and I'm only the other LaMelo is not recognized at all.
Mars, I'm not even a nationalist. This is the only time I'll be a nationalist today, right now. This segment, Carmelo is Mello.
That's fine. Yeah, deport me. I might need to go make an insensitive joke real quick if we were trying to deport me.
Whoa.
Go ahead, Mars, please.
No, because
I'm
not
Ron. Do your job, Ron. As you were saying, Ron.
So we are about 10 likes away from you guys getting a good old list. But you know what? I'm going to be a good guy, and I'm going to look past you guys not doing your job. But I do want to shout out a couple members, though. Shout out to Ethan M. Also, shout out to C5. Shout out to our Hall of Famers, Jerry Reality, Arch, Kendall Daniels, Multi-Kenny, Cobra Son of Raditz, Dorian Clayton. The people that didn't like this video, I hope you guys stub your big toe.
Mars, Ron, if you do it before they get to 450, they're gonna look at you as weak, and they're never gonna take your word for them.
No, Ron weak because he said 350 and then upped it by 100 when they hit it. That's why he weak.
Well, you see, Ox. When you're a man, you don't gotta act like a man and be the loudest person in the room and all that. If they see me as me being weak, that doesn't really mean I'm weak unless I let them thinking that I'm weak get into my head and change my perception of who I really am.
Y'all, we're at 432. Can we please get 18 more likes so we can finish this list? I mean, please, I'm asking y'all. I'm genuinely. I know. Hold on. Don't let Ron. Let Swiper ask you in a genuine way. No troll. No agendas aside. I just want to get through the list. Can you please like the video so I can get done with this nonsense, please? Because we gotta sit here. We're just like we're going around the list, like, oh, let's talk about all these super chats, these other things. We know Ron don't want to talk about these super chats. We know he want to talk about his GOAT. So let's just get to his GOAT. But the only reason we're gonna get to that
okay, there
is
we
if we
are.
get 16 more likes.
We're already at 450. Let's go, Ron.
Good job, Swiper. What a campaign, Swiper.
That's next level extortion. But I mean, I guess we got it. So cool.
Thank you, chat, for your ethical agreement with this show. We all four of us thank you for participating.
Swiper, you was at the DNC. You campaigning hard, brother.
Hey, look, that's what I do. That's my job. That's what I do.
All right, so as you guys can see, here's the list up on the screen. Feast your eyes. At number 9, you got Wilt Chamberlain. At 8, we have Larry Bird. At 7, we have Kobe Bryant. And at 6, we have Magic Johnson. Now, as you can see, it is a tie for 4th place. So I'm going to start with the first guy. And this may be surprising to you guys. It might not be. But this is who we voted on. Bill?
No, y'all are tripping. Nah, no way. No, y'all are tripping. No way.
Why he shouldn't be on the list? What?
No,
Swap has number 1.
No way. Y'all are bugging. This is unbelievable. No way.
He should be higher than that?
No, not even. This is not even a conversation, chill. I would think you of all people would know. No way. No way. This is like saying going through boxing history and putting Mayweather at the top, which I think there's a fair argument for it, over Muhammad Ali. No way. There is literally no NBA. I want to be clear about this. There's no NBA, no black players, no nothing. All the money, the income, everything about the league that it is today, all the LeBron James stuff, the reason why it was unpopular for Michael Jordan to say Republicans buy sneakers too, all that stuff, it all stems from Bill Russell. Bill Russell quite literally carried the entire league on his back. He carried the 60s on his back. He carried Boston for all the things they hated him for. They were putting dead bodies of animals in Bill Russell's bed. He was hated in Boston. Bill Russell was a part of the original Cleveland Summit that, just for context for everybody, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Muhammad Ali, Walter Beats, Jim Brown, Willie Davis, Curtis McClinton, Bobby Mitchell, Bill Russell, Jim Shorter, Carl Stokes, Sidney Williams, John Wooten. What was the significance of that meeting? 11 of the 12 of Muhammad Ali was the one they were advocating for. They all stood behind Muhammad Ali's protest of the Vietnam War to not fight. They were the only public black athletes. They came out to support him to the degree they put their own risk, their lives on the line, and their jobs.
On the list then.
Well, he is. I'm saying if we had an all-time list, Muhammad Ali's at the top for me. Wouldn't even be a conversation. But in terms of just NBA impact,
I feel you coming from Swiper.
Literally, it's the Bill Russell Award. The league is Bill Russell.
If we being honest, Ron, I mean, the first black head coach in NBA history. Not only the first black head coach in NBA history, the first black coach with the Boston Celtics, the first black head coach to win an NBA championship. He did stuff like that. And we're also talking about a guy in Bill Russell, the first not just black head coach, the first player coach
ever
to win an NBA championship, and to do it in Boston, which at the time was one of the most racist cities in America. And for him to do that and have that kind of backing from a guy like Red Auerbach, that's a huge deal.
11 championships,
man. That's
out of San Francisco, what he brought with him into Boston, he was a transcendent. Like Bill Russell, y'all, was so big, he transcended the sport. Like he was the pinnacle of everything that basketball meant, and everybody from Mike to Kobe to Shaq to Wilt, even to Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, even to this day, players that are living it right. Everybody pays their dues to Bill Russell, because Bill Russell is he is the legend among all NBA personnel. The NBA looks to him, and when he was still living, for guidance. I mean, I just really don't like. I mean, just from a pure influence standpoint, there's just no one else that's influenced where basketball is today, off court, on court, more than Bill Russell, because Bill Russell literally was the prototype and started everything. There's literally no Jordan and there's no Magic. There's none of them if Bill Russell Bill Russell doesn't exist. And again, Chill, it's not that he had to exist. The same way Magic and Bird had to be supernaturally great in the 80s. He had to be supernaturally great for any black player in the league to get any dude whatsoever.
Are we talking about Bill? Are we talking about Bill Russell as maybe being the Jackie Robinson of pro basketball?
I mean, there were players before him, but in terms of impact, like what he meant to the sport, there is no one else. And again, just for context, he won 11 titles.
I don't know if I could get with you on that, Swipe. But like I hear everything you said, and I respect everything you said, except for there would be no Jordan, no this without Bill Russell. I don't see how that.
Well, I'm saying remember. You got to remember what we're talking about, though, when we talk not just Jordan as a player, but everything that comes with Jordan. We're talking about Jordan's ability, not just Jordan, but we're talking about all of these guys' abilities in basketball, outside of basketball, media. I mean, these guys, the All-Star game's coming on in an hour. He anchored that. We're not going out there. We're not going out there.
I feel that shit, but I don't. We're not going out there. If Bill Russell doesn't win 11 championships, I don't think it's not like they're gonna stop letting they're not going to stop letting brothers play in the NBA.
No, but what I'm saying is, Ox, he legitimized black players as the mind and the engine behind the sport.
Sure.
That's what I mean. Like before that time, they did not think that you could be both black. It's the same thing with quarterbacks in the NFL, Ox. Same damn thing. Warren Moon had to win 5 cups in Canada
and throw for 800,000 yards
in order to get to the NFL because they didn't think that black players could lead that position because they weren't smart enough. Bill Russell literally had to be, he was the first Ox to be the front-facing athlete, but also to be smart enough to be able to coach and lead at the, like, that's what I'm saying. Like he did all of it. And on top of that, he was the wealthiest person in the sport. While for what it meant at the time, like $101,000, like, so it's not like crazy money. It's like, but literally, he was the floor from everybody else got built. Go ahead,
Mars. You can appreciate the pettiness of the Boston Celtics because again, you're a troll. So I mean, to pay Chamberlain $100,000 and make him the highest paid player in the league, and then for Red Auerbach to go, I'm going to pay Bill Russell $100,001.
Right.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can appreciate you being a troll like you are.
Who was paid more before him?
It was Chamberlain. Chamberlain was the highest paid player in the league at $100,000. And Bill and Red Auerbach said, okay, in addition to us having Bill Russell being the best player, they thought he was in the game. I'm gonna make him the highest paid player in the game. So he's gonna make $100,001.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Will Chamberlain, that's a brother too.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
but here's the difference with Chamberlain, the difference with Jabbar. Like Jabbar was considered the angry black man. Wilt Chamberlain was the Paul Bunyan of the league. He was the guy who the guy who everybody went up against because you couldn't really compete with him. Bill Russell was the intellect. He revolutionized shot blocking. Right. Guys didn't block shots the way he did. In addition to that, Bill Russell did things like, I remember hearing a conversation with his daughter who, when he sat down with his family, he made his kids, every day they came to the kitchen table, whether it was breakfast or dinner, they had to know something about current events. Mm-hmm. Because in order for us to have a conversation as a family, we got to be able to talk about what's going on in the world. So that's social impact. These are the kind of people he's sending out to the world. It's not just him. In addition to him, his people he's sending out to the world too. So when we talk about impact, and again, Ox, we're not just talking about a player. We're talking about the overall impact of what this guy did. And Bill Russell, I can get with that as the best ever. I'm not going to go that far, but he was definitely
he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so again, I understand. I might be alone on this. I'm fine with that too. Whoever you're going to put in one is legitimately there's reasons why they should be. But again, it's just for the sake of what we believe in as basketball like minds and what we stand for, I think. And again, everybody knows how I'm inclined anyway for what it means to me for you to be able to commit your life to something that important. Bill Russell did this in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when it was literally, he was the loudest voice in the room. Like the loudest voice in the room and the tallest voice in the room in Boston, Massachusetts. And they hated him. They did not like him. They did not like him, and yet even still, he was just like, whatever. So I mean, I get it, I understand. It's just,
He
Swiper,
definitely deserves a lot of recognition for that.
he was number 1 on your list. I had him number 4 on my list. There's 2 people. Well, somebody else had him number 4, and 2 other people didn't have him on their list at all. You guys want to say your stance?
I didn't have him on my list.
Same.
I had him, I think, at 3 or 4.
You had him at 4.
I ain't have him because I'm always someone who says I try to not speak on things that I don't know, and I'm not as well versed. I'm not as well versed in the US cultural influences. That's why the other person who I'm certain is in this top 4, I also didn't have them, because their impact not was limited to the US, but it's definitely more confined to the US compared to the globalization and what I was thinking about when I think of the influence on the NBA. And I know bits about what Bill Russell did for social justice, and I know bits of, especially about what he did in the NBA and how he was one of the smartest defensive minds, and a lot of like modern coverages and things like that teams actually run today is started from what Bill Russell and the Celtics were doing in the 60s. I understand all of those things. But when it comes to like the larger scope of things, and I didn't know anything he just spoke about with Muhammad Ali and all of those things. So I'm not going to pretend to know something and then put him there and then I can't explain it. I'm just going to rather just leave it out for what I know, what I'm aware of. That's why I interpret the list in terms of how I view the influence. And I'm speaking from a completely different perspective as everyone else who are Americans and grew up in the US. And as Black people, you understand like the civil liberties and stuff. Like I can understand that, and I'm not going to argue like you got Bill Russell here. Like I'm not going to do that. I just know I'm speaking from a completely different perspective. So maybe the influence of Bill just isn't as profound on me and on my life and all of those things. So that's why I just left him off. But I didn't mean there's any disrespect to Bill. And hearing all of those things, I'm not going to argue that Bill is top 5. Someone says he's top 5, I'm not going to argue, because all of those things I think make a very valid case for him to be number 1 with everything he's done. So just wanted to clarify why I didn't have him on the list.
Right.
Remember I talked to you guys about, or we were talking about Magic and Bird and why they didn't make my list. The reason why they didn't make my list is because I had Bill superseding them in terms of what they did. Like obviously you guys said they saved the NBA. I believe Bill Russell did it, but he did it before them. And I think his impact in doing it as one person, I thought it was a little bit greater. And then I also felt like just a lot of things the Swiper said, his impact off the court was substantial. So he kind of made my list in not necessarily exile those 2, but what he did to me was greater for the NBA. So
that's where'd you have him wrong? Where'd you have him wrong?
I had him at 4.
Oh, with me. Okay. Yeah.
It kind of sucks too, because I mean, Bill Russell said it himself. I mean, this is the best team in the not just the decade, the best team in the NBA, and the best fans, the biggest fans of the Celtics were the guys on the bench. I mean, they couldn't even sell out arenas. And the reason why they couldn't sell out arenas was because the team was too black. That was what was going on. The team was too black in a city like Boston, where, you know, there wasn't much diversity.
They couldn't even travel together. Like,
right. When you talk about influence, that right there is what gets my blood pressure up. When I hear people talk to me about Bill Russell in today's game, and I'm like, okay, what I want you guys to do is I want you to take your private jet. Okay, Bill can't do that. Bill got to get on the Amtrak, and he got to go to Portland from Phoenix, and he can't stay in the Ritz-Carlton with you guys. He got to stay on the other side of town at the Super 8 because they don't allow Black people in this hotel. He can't stay there. And when we go to eat, so to all of us that go to eat here, no, Bill can't eat here. Bill got to go across the street, or actually 2 blocks down to eat, and hope that he can actually get something to eat. He can't.
What's slept on about that shit? No, go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
And with him doing that, he still comes out and performs at the highest level. That's the biggest deal to me with him as a player, just as a player alone.
What's slept on about that, Chill, is obviously the fact that you're not being allowed to eat somewhere is an issue. That's the issue. Right. But the silver lining is Bill is actually eating better food.
But I think it's lost on. I think when we talk about NBA history, and I mean, like, we had the whole "we done with the '90s" thing, but even beyond that, it's like a lot of people don't respect like the brand of basketball from the '60s and the '70s, and like whether you respect it or not, that's cool. They weren't as skilled, whatever. But we talk about that like it was so long ago because in the grand scheme of the NBA, a 75 or like 77-year-old league, 65 years ago is a long time. But in the grand scheme of America and the world, the fact that those things were happening 60 years ago is disgraceful. Like Chill is the elder statesman here. Chill's parents, I'm assuming, grew up when that was a thing. Well, maybe even were grown when that was happening. Yeah. That's one generation. Like that. This is what was happening in you guys' country, and England was just as bad. Like this is what was happening. One generation separating people, and everyone's like, "Oh, just get over it. Oh, it doesn't happen anymore." No, this is recent history. Recent history.
Right. It's not 400 or 500 years ago. No, that's not.
Yeah, like it's recent history. Like no matter how many people try to undermine it or act like it was long ago. No, it wasn't long ago. It was not. There's people alive today who are going through those things, and they are still around and can tell you stories about it today. There's people running for president right now who were alive for these things happening. Like it's not ancient history. It's not ancient history. So I think it's 1000% relevant and should be spoken about.
No, you spitting, Mars. You spitting, Mars. I mean, even with that being said, like there was a lot of this stuff still going on. Even when laws were changed, there were still places in the 80s that was still like this. You know what I'm saying? Like this is very recent history. My grandfather just had a birthday 4 days ago. You know what I'm saying? And he grew up all in this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like
I don't know if y'all Friday Night Lights fans out here, but to Mars's Knox point, y'all probably have seen Friday Night Lights. You remember Boobie Miles? There is a wall in Odessa, Texas called the I'm not gonna say it, the N-word wall in the middle of the 1980s, and that's where all the black people lived. And so the reason that like Boobie Miles, you know, in the movie and in the book, when he tore his knee up, why he was so devastated because black people, you didn't make it outside the wall. Like either you played football and you made it out, or you went and you worked and you did like maintenance jobs and didn't move nowhere, and you just stayed there and started your working blue collar jobs all the time. So yeah, like it's. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's just that I think Mars makes a really fair point that like if you are not aware of it, it's hard to value it. Right. But I think that also just speaks to that's why basketball is such a great sport. There's something for all of us to pull away from like in the game, you know.
All right, y'all. We are going to move on. How many likes we at?
Enough, Ron. That's how many we at.
Right.
Enough.
Okay. All right, for sure. But in the midst of moving on to the next group, I do want to shout out.
By the way, this is your man.
I do want to shout out all of our honorable mentions that didn't make this list but should have. You got Boban, Skip to my Lou,
Boban,
Jeremy Lin, Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba once again, and Dikembe Mutombo. Shout out to all of them for not making the list, man. Y'all should have been here, but unfortunately you couldn't. But also too, we do have to find a 10th spot on this list, y'all. So after we go through these the rest of these names, these last four, we will figure out who's the 10th most influential player that didn't make this list outside of these 9 guys. But here we go, y'all. Moving along. If you guys had a question, I have an answer for you. And his name is Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
His name is Allen Iverson. No,
tied
he's
for
tied
Bill
for
Russell. Tied.
Well, Swiper, the same thing that we talked about with Magic and Bird in the 70s, where the game was too black, the game was drug infested, the game was not played the right way. When Allen Iverson showed up, he actually brought the street game to the NBA. And not only did he bring the street game to the NBA, he brought relatable people. He was able to relate to him because Allen, very much like Steph Curry, he looked like one of us. He wasn't 6'8", 6'9", and he brought everything that was outside of the NBA into the NBA and made it successful. So with him doing that, not to mention his game transcended to the NBA, where he was a player who, as small as he was, I mean, there's people who will argue he's the best small man in NBA history. I don't know how true that is, but there's people who will argue that he's the best small man in history. But how Allen Iverson, how good he was as a player, how his clothes, his style, how hard he played, how much he influenced people away from basketball. He was a household name. It's not easy to be a household name. And when I say a household name, Ron, I mean a household name where not just you know him, not the casual fan at the water cooler, like your mother knows him. Your mother is going to get sneakers because my son wants these Allen Iversons. I don't even know who this dude is, but my son wants these Iversons, like my grandmother did when she bought me up. I don't know who this guy is, Jermaine, but they selling these sneakers for this Jordan guy. Like that's what Allen Iverson did for the culture. And because he did that, he's one of the most influential guys that the NBA has ever seen.
So he was on your list.
Yes, he was.
It was two people.
Definitely on my list.
Yes.
He wasn't on mine. Yeah, he wasn't on
I
mine.
never even considered Allen Iverson.
I considered him
for 10, like top 10, but Magic, Larry, like
he was. I was considering him or the person I had at 5th. The reason, once again, similar to the Bill Russell thing, it's more of a US thing, I think, in terms of AI's influence. Now, some people might say it did branch out, but for me, like just speaking once again from the overseas perspective, I just didn't. AI wasn't the one who I would have put on this list, but I did consider him because I've heard more about like his cultural influence, all of those things. So I'm not mad at Iverson. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, Iverson top 5. But once again, I left him out because I just didn't feel personally like that influence broke America. Like, whereas I think the players I had, it did break America. So that's
I actually had a pair of Iversons, Mars. I don't wear Reebok ever. I had a pair
everybody. I had some too.
Nobody wore Reebok.
I don't wear Reeboks. I'm a Nike guy.
Wore Reebok.
And I had a pair of Reeboks. Yes, I had a pair of Iversons.
We wore sleeves.
Yeah. I don't even wear Reebok. I'm not a Reebok dude. Yeah, I had a pair of Iversons.
Braids.
That's one thing I didn't do with Iverson. I didn't do the sleeves. I didn't do I had the headband, but no sleeves, no wristbands, none of that. But definitely had all the Iverson gear. I'm talking about the shorts, the sweats, the shirts, everything, the jerseys, the shoes, all of that. Like Iverson had little white kids with wearing their shorts down to the middle of their calf. You know what I'm saying? Trying to cross over, do all that. Like it was very influential. Whether you feel it's a positive or negative or whatever you feel about it, it was very influential.
Well, Iverson and the and one tour all came at the same time. So I think those were synonymous for me when I was a kid. Like I thought AI represented like the best of and one. He was just way better than all them dudes. But like
the and one shit to me was it was cool, it was entertaining, but I didn't really like it. It's like, bro, you're traveling. You know what I'm saying?
That's not legit. That's not basketball.
I'm serious about basketball, Swipe. And I'm like, no, that's a travel, that's a carry. You can't do that.
But if we're talking about impact, they were selling out arenas like NBA, more than NBA games at the time. Like they were Hot Sauce. Hot Sauce might have been one of the biggest basketball stars on the planet for 3 years.
I just said Skip to my Lou. Shout out Skip.
Yeah, Main Event, Skip to my Lou, Escalade, The Professor.
Shout out Escalade. What? Hey, I try to kick you out of here. You disrespect Escalade, boy.
You can kick me out, bro. Like real hoopers.
Hey, man, shout out Escalade, man. Shout out the N1 mixtape. And this is why Allen Iverson was number 1 on my most influential list. And you could say I'm biased because I lived through this and I seen it. And he was one of the first people to influence me and take my love of basketball to the next level. But yo, you guys do understand the trickle effect that Allen Iverson has had even to this day. So I'm not gonna start with everybody wanting to accessorize the way that they look. Before Allen Iverson, chill. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tattoos were not a thing like that. Wearing other accessories and stuff wasn't a thing like that. Sleeves, wristbands, and all of that stuff. That wasn't a thing like that.
Well, to be fair,
so it's AI's fault these dudes wearing dresses to the game?
No, not his fault. No, not his fault. But you can attribute Allen Iverson being able to express himself.
But Rodman was the first one to do that with the tattoos and all that.
Yeah,
and
but you couldn't really relate to Rodman though.
What do you mean you couldn't relate to Rodman? Everybody had dyed hair. There were kids, including me, that wanted dyed hair just like Dennis Rodman for years.
I wasn't one of those guys.
You were not a child. You were not a child. You were grown by that point. I was a pup. I was a pup.
Swiper, with all due respect, me and none of my homeboys wanted to be like Dennis Rodman.
That's cool.
No
Y'all couldn't play either. Y'all couldn't play either. That's why y'all was getting cooked on the circuit. Me, on the other hand, we was winning everywhere. I don't have to tell you.
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna engage with that. All I'm gonna say is Iverson made it cool. Like all of this pregame drip and all of that, Iverson started that. Before that, you were coming to game in suits. You were coming to game clean.
Swiper, they made a dress code.
Jordan was the one that started the pregame dress stuff with the dress with the suits,
with the baggy
and
ass
the Nike.
suits.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
No,
they
but
was dressing like gentlemen, Ron. Wearing suits like gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
He said
And
gentlemen.
now, do they dress like gentlemen now? No, everybody.
No, they're wearing dresses
out.
and painting their fingernails. Thanks, Alan.
Shout out to Jared McCain.
Thank you, Alan.
Whatever the case may be, Allen Iverson may. Hey, we had that whole conversation about aura yesterday. Yep. Hey, nobody's aura today lights a candle.
No, stop.
Next to Allen Iverson.
Iron your damn shirt.
He wasn't even exceeding Kobe like that. You over here lying. He wasn't even exceeding Kobe like that in the early 2000s.
Allen, in
You're
the
lying.
early 2000s, Kobe might have got
no.
Kobe never had.
By the time 01 came around, Kobe was Kobe.
Kobe never.
By the time 01 came around, Kobe was Kobe.
You're lying.
How am I lying?
Kobe
was Kobe. By the time he went on the first finals run, he was him.
Never had more aura than Allen
What do
Iverson.
you mean never had more? What are you talking about? People don't even to this day talk about Allen Iverson like they talk about Kobe. Nobody does. Nobody does. Just from the impact standpoint. Let me be clear. I also, just like Ox, I had a piggy bank with an Allen Iverson photo on it. It was a cardboard one that I made. Trust me, I understand. I had AIs, but if we're just saying we're just not going to pretend like Kobe also wasn't running the league by this point either.
Yeah, but even Iverson even had Kobe trying to be a thug. Trying to rap.
I had a mini fro like Kobe. I had a mini fro like Kobe, and I had cornrows like Iverson.
Kobe wanted to be like Allen Iverson.
Where did you get that from?
From being around and watching.
All right.
Hey, Swiper, I'm telling you,
man,
y'all are crazy,
to this
day, I haven't seen anybody translate off the court and on the court with just more drip or swag, whatever words you want to make it. Allen Iverson.
Well, they can't do that.
He literally started that, and it is still going to this day.
But I'm saying you can't copy SGA and Russell Westbrook. I can't wear what they wear. So I'm not. That's different. AI wore what we wore. That's different. He wore baggy clothes. He had the XXL t-shirts on, the XXL shorts. That's what we all did. We could do that. We could afford that. You could go to Walmart and get that.
Platform, all of that. Like
South Pole.
Allen Iverson transcended the
FUBU.
So hard. Oh,
I had
I used to have this blue South Pole shirt, had the suede South Pole part on it.
I had a dope South Pole every jacket. Yes, I did.
But just to be clear, when LBJ came into the league, I bought all of LeBron's stuff. First year he was in the league. First year.
Ask Bron who he got his swag from.
Ask him where he got his swag from. Nobody. You know why? Because he was a poor child from Akron, Ohio, couldn't afford nothing. So he had no swag. He had no swag coming into the league.
T-shirts.
Huh?
He could afford baggy T-shirts.
We all wore baggy stuff.
You know what I'm saying? Iverson made it cool to be yourself, to dress how you dress. Now, I personally, I think once you get money like that, you should dress like a gentleman and come to the game. Dress properly. You know what I'm saying? But
I ain't doing all that. I don't know what proper means. What does proper mean? Because that's complicated to me.
Like a gentleman, Swiper. Why can't a gentleman? Why can't I wear a T-shirt
and jeans be a gentleman? What's wrong with that?
Because that's just not proper attire.
For whom do you speak?
For a gentleman.
Adults. That's
I don't know what that means.
That's your problem. You need to figure it out.
I'm a
first
professional.
Of all, you got a red. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. When you first came here, I thought your shirt said redlining. I was like, well, what is this propaganda
first
going
of all,
on?
Don't play with me because my closet. I can take care of you, Swiper.
Take care of me. I don't wear a triple X.
I see that suit you got on, Swiper. I can take care of you.
I don't wear a triple X. I can't wear the same thing you do.
About to see my man Ox. When I see him, I got some bread for him because I got to get some measurements. I'm gonna bring him my measurements when I see him. So
no doubt. We're gonna do that.
Also too though, like for me, Allen Iverson, it's not just the dressing and the tattoos and accessories and stuff like that. Also too, it was literally his game. I think Allen Iverson was the one who opened the portal to be now. Ox, you could say it was a carry, you could say it's traveling and things like that. Allen Iverson literally opened that door with the crossover and stuff like that, and coming with the handles and stuff like that. Not a lot of cats was doing that. Cats had handles. Not a lot of cats was doing it like that though. He popularized it and he opened up a whole different portal for cats to start getting off moves that you weren't doing in the 80s. You weren't doing these moves in the 70s.
And now y'all tripping. Isaiah Thomas didn't do none of that.
He did, but
AI was the crossover. No, AI revolutionized the crossovers. I mean, that's a fact. We know that. That's 1000% true. 1000%. I had my crossover was AI copyright 1000%. Hesitation, hold it at the top, and come back around the other way.
No handle, stop.
That's what I'm saying. This is the thing. This is the thing about basketball players. This is the thing about all three of y'all basketball players. All of y'all are gumpy when y'all walk. Y'all are all tall, long, with fat ankles. Don't come my way talking about no athletics. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Chill. I have workout videos from yesterday.
I was
dribble, bro.
So y'all can see. I will see you in a little bit. I will see you in a little bit. I'm willing to bet. We can do whatever y'all want. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet. Chill. Chill. You might not score. You might not score. Chill, you might not score. You might not score.
When I was your age, I still was a superior athlete.
So what do you mean my age? When you were my age, we were still making cotton gins. So I don't want to hear that. Telling me how far away that was. 40, I don't want to hear that.
40. That is. And Ron, what's up with that? That super chat you just had up there, Ron. Is that true? Not that one. The one you just had up there.
Read that.
From Celeste.
Yes.
Celeste said, Ron, Swiper lived in the middle of nowhere in Denver. He don't know he wasn't outside.
Middle of nowhere in Denver. Sounds.
Was you outside? Was you outside? Was you outside, Swiper? Yes or no?
What do you mean outside? Outside? Like now? Like now when I was in Denver?
No. I'm talking about when you were. When you say were you outside?
When I was recently in Denver, or
recently, I'm talking about middle school. Can we yell up at the window? Yo, Swipe! Was you outside?
I mean, I was on fields, so yes.
I ain't asked you if you was on fields. I'm not talking about
now,
as a
now you
football
want
player.
to say he couldn't.
And I was on the court. I mean, yeah. So outside, like as in taking care of business. Yeah, 1000%. I was a worker. I wasn't partying or nothing like that. I mean, I worked. I was 6 to 8 hours a day in the gym. I mean, you weren't gonna find me out of the club.
Okay.
If that's what you asking outside, I wasn't distracted.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I wasn't a 6'4", gleaming athlete like Chill. You know, I was just a regular 6 foot dunking at 13 kid. I had to take from the ground up.
You was dunking at 13?
Yeah, 1000%. Corey Ross dunking at 13. Jose dunking at 13. Demetrius dunking at 13. There was a few of us dunking at 13. I'm telling. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's not crazy. Like, I was dunking at 13.
Yeah, that's not even like that's nothing.
So I don't want to hear that from you.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is what I'm saying. We're on the internet, so I feel like it's easier to do this on the internet. But that's what I'm saying. When you're in person with somebody, it's a different type of feeling. Cause I've seen y'all now. I saw y'all on television, so I can look at on the PC when y'all got together. All right, y'all had there's athleticism there. I saw all four of y'all, and you could read immediately. All right, there's some athleticism there, so I see it. I see it. Look, I'm tired, bro. Get to the list. This is content. Y'all sign up for Player's Choice for the yap, and for the basketball. So that's why I don't get it. Y'all be complaining. Chill. They really be on here complaining about listening to people yap. That's what it is. When you go to Ox Court, you're not talking hoops. He's yapping. He's a master yapper. That's what he does. He's the master. He's a master yapper. And chill. Bring up chill on a solo. Chill is a masturbator. He's great at making content.
Wow. Papa, just leave me out of this, man.
He did just say that, Mars. Yes, he did. Yes, he did just say that. Yes.
All right, so we moving on. I'm grabbing the show by the horns. We are moving
please, because we're getting out of control over here.
Yo, Swiper got to go to the back for a second because he is absolutely disgusting. Yes. With all pun intended, that's heat. All right, so moving along in the list. As of right now, this is what we have. Let me go ahead and throw this on the screen. At number 9, we have Wilt Chamberlain. At 8, we have Larry Bird. At 7, we have Kobe Bryant. At 6, we have Magic Johnson. Tied for 4th, we have Bill Russell and Allen Iverson. And now at 3, this may upset a lot of you guys because He's widely considered your GOAT. But unfortunately, he's not the GOAT of this list. We have LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of high.
I do too.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to who had him like where. But...
I actually had him higher than that, but at 3, I had him higher than that. But Mars, you've said it a number of different times. So I'm going to ask you, Mars, who's the face of the NBA today? LeBron James. We're going into year 22, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going into year 6. We're not going into year 4. He's still not trying to figure himself out. We're in year 22. That's over 2 decades. And we still have this guy as the face of the league, who showed up when he showed up as the future face of the league and actually delivered. And we're talking about being influential. And we're not just talking about being influential as a player. Any and everything that he does is scrutinized. It's clipped. And the reason why it's that way is because the throne is being challenged. And the throne was challenged right from the beginning. Everything that he has done. And when you're talking about him being influential, I'm a huge fan. I'm not a big fan. I'm a huge fan of a guy who does things the right way. Have you ever seen LeBron James mugshot on SportsCenter? I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most scrutinized athlete ever.
How about him smacking around chicks? Never seen that. Never seen that. I'm married. I don't have a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women. In fact, I'm married to the chick that I have all the kids by, who I was seeing since I was 16 years old. We're still together to this day. I don't know how much more influential you can be just from the standpoint of being a grown-up than that. Now, when you're talking about as an athlete, I mean, he's the epitome of what you are in terms of being influential. Like, I want to be that. I want to be like that. A person who is flawed but can recognize their flaws and excel from them. And I think James, everything that he's done in terms of schooling, in terms of not just schools, his community, everything that he's done, I mean, it can't be much more. I don't think that there's more people who are more influential than him.
He's probably one of the 5 or 6, I would have to go through the list, most influential current athletes to do, like, in terms of doing work for their own community. Probably top 5 or 6 ever in terms of being active and also doing stuff for the community. So I had LeBron high on my list too. I'm sorry, but like, Jalen Rose also deserves flowers for what he did in Detroit with schools and everything else. But
yes, he does.
LeBron started, I promise, out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron has job training for the parents, job training for the students. The graduation rates are insane for I Promise. The lunches are free. They have the best education. They provide everything they need for their students before and after school care. They across the board. He's revamped communities in Akron and Cleveland in order to make space for these kids and for other people. I want to say that, like, I don't know the exact number, but he's paid for, if I remember correctly, several like 1,000 people to graduate from Akron as well.
But Mars, if you live more than a mile away from the school, you get a bike. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you live more than a mile away from the school, you get a bike. I mean, you don't. I don't hear people doing that. I mean, for a guy to be scrutinized as much as he's been scrutinized, for a guy to be just treated the way he's been treated over the course of his 22-year career and still be what Mars just said, the face of the league, and still thriving. I don't know how much more influential you can be than that.
So, Swiper, where'd you have LeBron in your list?
Well, that's the thing, Mr. Ron. I don't know how itemized it was in terms of order, but when I sent it to you, it looks like he was at 3, but he wasn't at 3. I didn't know it was supposed to be ordered, so I just put a list. But he would probably be more 5th or 4th on that list than he would be 2nd or 3rd.
So Bron shouldn't be this high.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have him this high, but
Bron got top 5 then.
I had, when I gave you I put Bron at 5. Hearing everything Swiper said about Bill Russell, and then hearing everyone talk about AI, because AI was the one I was deliberating with. AI and Bron, I ended up swapping the names out like 17 times.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably have Bron a bit lower. I think the influence in terms of free agency, I think, is a big deal.
Huge.
Just player empowerment, giving players the comfortability and the license to be able to take control of their own careers. I've always said, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, that's influence. Now, you don't have to like the influence. You don't have to like the direction in which things went, but I do think that's influence. The media, like you said about the scrutiny and all of those things, and the fact that everything is about LeBron. No matter what, they could be talking about Orlando versus Milwaukee. Somehow LeBron's going to come into it. Like, just all of those things is influence. I agree with all of those things. I just think, on the grand scheme of things, I just don't know if I would have him in the top 5, just in terms of his influence over individuals. I just don't think is as high as the other guys. And like, maybe it is. Once again, I could be ill-informed. I'm not saying I'm right, but I think I could be ill-informed. Maybe he does have a larger influence on individuals more
Well,
than
you just said it. You just said it yourself, Mars. The idea of him changing free agency and making it okay to go certain places and to take control of your taking control of your career. How many guys in the league individually? I'm not even talking about just individually. How many guys want to go play somewhere else just off the strength that I want to do this, but I'm not really sure if this is okay, how this is going to be received if I do it, and if I do get scrutinized by doing it, am I going to be okay with it? And James, to your point, made that okay. Like, hey, do what's best for you. Do what you think is best for your career. Do what you think is best for you, because in the end, you're gonna have to account for what happens in your career. You can't say 15 years from now, well, I didn't have the opportunity to go play in Toronto when I was too afraid to go play in Toronto.
That's
you
a
could have
fact.
went and played in Toronto. You could have very much went down to Miami, but you cheesed up because you were worried about what people were gonna say. I ain't worried about that, and I'm opening up the door for you not to be worried about that.
Chill. He saw KG. He saw what happened to KG. He saw what happened to KG at his apex. Remember, KG stayed loyal to a terrible franchise, and it cost him like years. And LeBron said by the time 2010 came around, chill, he's like, bro, no, second round again.
Y'all ain't serious.
No, we're not doing this. No, I'm not doing this. I'm good.
I agree. I agree that stuff had influence. Like, we're talking about the most influential players ever. It's not like, oh, this guy just had they all have influence. But I just don't know if that, for me, would measure up with everything I said about Kobe earlier, everything I said about Magic and Birds. The other two names are yet to show up. And then, like, even just hearing everything that Swiper laid out about Bill Russell, everything Chill said about Bill Russell, I don't know if I would be comfortable putting Bron over Bill Russell with all of those things being said. Allen Iverson, I think, also just in terms of everything he meant to the culture and the game, and how David Stern had it out for Allen Iverson. That's one thing I do know. David Stern had it out for him. And just overcoming all of those things and then everything that's transpired. I also think it's hard to measure influence while you're in it, while it's happening, while it's still going on. I think it's hard. But I feel like 20 years from now, LeBron's influence might be seen as larger than it is at this very moment. Same thing with the person who I'm assuming is at 2. I think his influence will probably be larger 15 years from now. Not saying he'll overtake number 1, but I think it's hard to visualize how someone's influencing things while they're still,
because it's in real time. Sure,
while it's still happening. So I think that that's also a case of it. But I think I had him at 5th. Hearing about Bill Russell and Allen Iverson, I'd probably have him around 7, or 8. But I'm not mad at him in the top 5. Now I think 3 is probably a bit high, but
well, I think the thing with AI, I get the AI stuff, but like for me with Bron, I think the thing that Bron will get later on down the line, as Mars so eloquently said, is LeBron is going to get the notoriety for the business side that he started. Because Steph Curry replicated what LeBron did off court with what's his production team called? Do you remember that name, Mars?
Whose production team?
Steph Curry. He has his own. Just like how Bron has.
He's got a show coming on
Shop and all that
on NBC. It's actually.
But he did a film not too long ago too. He does shows.
Unanimous. It's called Unanimous.
Yeah, Unanimous. That's what it was. And then remember, KD has the boardroom. But like LeBron started all that stuff. Too. Yeah, the board was cold, but like LeBron is the one that bought.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Swiper, but I've never watched it. Is it a good show?
Yeah.
You
talking about KD's?
I'm talking about the boardroom. I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's good. It doesn't. Yeah, Eddie Gonzalez. Shout out Eddie Gonzalez on Twitter. He was the one that helped KD put all that stuff together. So yeah, it's real solid.
Okay.
I don't watch the show. I'll just follow them on social media, and they give like very good facts. Not just on basketball, on everything as a whole. Like they keep me locked in, updated on a lot of things. I'll be like, whoa, I didn't. Okay, that's cool. I didn't. Yeah,
I think the thing LeBron's gonna get more credit for, and I'm telling y'all right now, I think the fact that LeBron James, and this is why I'm too heavy off court stuff. For LeBron, Chill, Mars, Ron, and Ox, to the oldest person in his house when he was born was a 19-year-old. His mother was 16. The oldest person was a 19-year-old. I think he moved like 13 or 14 times by the time he got to a senior in high school. For him to have the wherewithal to turn down Reebok for lowballing him, to then take the Nike deal, to then be able to take Rich Paul, Maverick, and the rest of his squad and say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give none of y'all money. But whatever y'all want, whatever y'all want to do with y'all life, I'm going to pay for everything. All the education, all the training, all that stuff. For him to put on Maverick and Rich Paul to where they're the two biggest names in the industry, in the respective industries and what they do, for me, that's a big deal.
I will give you that. Bron actually didn't make my list.
Right.
I didn't have to move Bron down. I had everybody that we've named outside of Wilt. I had Bron 8 on my list. I didn't factor in, and I'll tell you guys why, but I didn't factor in the free agency part. That is major. And I didn't factor in, so you guys were all talking about him helping his boys and him having a spotless resume and stuff like that. I don't necessarily know what that has to do with the influence of other people, but it was great that he did that. But I will give you Rich Paul and Maverick because they have a heavy impact on what goes on in the game. Rich Paul's the biggest agent in the game.
Yeah.
The biggest agent. Name. Like Ox talks about the Laker media cartel. Rich Paul is sitting at that table.
So he's David Falk. He's David Falk from the 90s.
Yeah, and he's directly correlated to LeBron. Yes. It is no Rich Paul without LeBron. And as a matter of fact, they are headlining what's going on. But also, too, one of the big reasons why I think Bron is 8 on my list right now, and I do believe he'll potentially move up, is because we're still watching LeBron play out. And so once he starts making these other moves, like let's say he invests in a Vegas team and stuff like that, things like that, I think that's going to move Bron up. I do believe post NBA career, I think Bron's going to be crazy.
What do you think? What soccer team does he partially own?
Liverpool.
Liverpool, that's right.
Well, that's another reason why.
Because Bron is a Liverpool fan. So, what do you think when you think about influence? Like the exact word, influence somebody to make something possible. So, to Ron's point, you know, if I own a basketball team, if I'm signing mega deals, if I'm taking control of my career, that's influential on other people. Wildly influential on other people, as opposed to nobody doing it, and nobody doing it, you don't think it's possible until you actually see somebody doing it. Well, damn, not only do I want to do that, it's possible that I can do it. I'd like to think that's a big deal.
I think that might be part of what, like, subconsciously held LeBron back on my list. Like, LeBron seems so unattainable.
Like exactly, Morris. That's we're right here with this.
Everything LeBron's done, like single mother household, 16-year-old mother, growing up, they didn't have much. Them turning into this 6'9", 250 super freak athlete who can see the game in ways no one else can, but is more athletic than everyone, then has the best longevity ever. Like, it doesn't, like, for a regular person, I'm probably below average in terms of height and all of those things, but like it doesn't seem attainable to be what LeBron was. But Allen Iverson, more 5'11", smaller, relentless. Like, if it seems more attainable, like, and the culture stuff, it's a bit off-putting to me because it seems like you guys are just minimizing black culture to street stuff, which is kind of weird to me. But like, just generally speaking, like those things, Allen Iverson, the person who's at number 2, similar.
Wait, say that again, please.
With Allen Iverson, it seems like people are minimizing black culture to just being street.
That right there is the thing, because I think that's the other part of that is like we're not Iverson is popular amongst us, but Iverson is extremely popular amongst white people.
If I'm not mistaken, if didn't KP get braids in his hair when he was a kid because of Iverson?
Yeah,
he was in Lithuania,
right?
I'm sorry, Latvia. He got braids in his hair because of Allen Iverson. He did that specifically because of him.
To Mars' point though, about Bron,
that's crazy.
one of my biggest thing was your influence on the game of basketball itself. How did you revolutionize the game? And I know LeBron has been at the top of the game for 20 years. I know he's been to 10 straight finals and all of that, 9, 8, whatever it was. And I know he's, MVPs. But the thing about Bron's game is how Mars said, it's literally it's one LeBron. It wasn't a LeBron before LeBron, and it may not be a LeBron after LeBron, and it's no LeBron in the league. Everybody else, it's been versions of them that came after them or something eerily similar. A 6'9" freight train that can do everything. It's like, yes, you were influential, but you didn't necessarily change the game. Like, he did, but he didn't. I'm talking about it's nobody that can mimic what LeBron does. I'm not saying he didn't change the game. I don't want to minimize it to that, but I'm saying he was so one of one and so elevated and so different that his impact wasn't necessarily, to me, felt amongst everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, that was kind of no individual, I agree, but like the way the game is played today, and it's gonna be number 2 is definitely gonna be the one we're gonna give a large portion of the credit for the way the game is today. Mm-hmm. But LeBron has a hand in that too, in terms of the heliocentrism, which is a term a lot of people don't like because I think it gets overused. But like Magic to a lesser degree, but then LeBron was like the first ball dominant, score, play make, do everything for my team offensively type of player. And he was also one of the first who was like, LeBron 4 shooters, LeBron 3 shooters, like space the floor, get threes. I'm gonna collapse the defense, kick out, all of those things. Chris Bosh playing the 5 in Miami, the small ball experiment. Now, Miami wasn't the first team to run small at the 5. The Suns did it with Amari Stoudemire, and the Mavericks did it with Dirk Nowitzki at the 5 in like 04. But like all of those things in terms of versatility, spacing the floor, LeBron is kind of like the one who spearheaded a lot of that. And then having the success he did, go into 8 straight finals with a very similar recipe throughout all of it in terms of spacing, heliocentrism, ball dominance, a big man that can shoot, all of those things. I agree, like that's his influence. But in terms of individual players, I think we're getting to a point now where you're seeing a lot of these wings, 6'7", 6'8", freak athletes who are really good passers. I think that's LeBron. Like those 6'8", super freak, smart players, like Amen Thompson. Personally, Amen Thompson's one of them. Paolo's coming in. Like those type of players, I think that you're seeing LeBron's influence really start to show his head in terms of the way the game is going, in terms of these jumbo wings doing everything. I think it's like you got Magic, LeBron, and now we've got what we've got today. I think there is influence there. So once again, I'm not like, if I say I would have had LeBron lower than 3, that doesn't mean I don't think LeBron was influential. I just think personally I would take a Kobe, I would take a Magic and Bird in terms of influence. But I think LeBron is undoubtedly one of the most influential players ever. I just don't know if 3 is where I would have put him. And then everything I heard about Bill Russell and Iverson, like, yeah, so I'd probably have him a bit lower, but the influences.
So LeBron has gotten by far the most negative chat interaction, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why people don't like.
But that showed that. I mean, it's LeBron. You know, when LeBron name come up, we could have had LeBron at 9. LeBron shouldn't even be on this list. Like it's LeBron. Like it's LeBron James. Anytime we could say anything about LeBron James, is gonna be met with somehow he's not.
No matter
he
what,
shouldn't be this.
No
good.
matter what you say, Mars. No matter what.
Like that kind of like goes to a lot of basketball discourse, like a lot of the media and how much people interact with basketball discourse is a lot because of LeBron. LeBron drives forward a lot of basketball discourse, whether we like it or not. I hate a lot of the LeBron topics. We do, national media does. But the reason that people do it so much is because it gets the most views. LeBron drives forward sports discourse.
LeBron made a $500 million difference in the Cleveland economy, by the way, from him leaving and going. Just to be clear. I just want people to know that. $500 million difference.
Ron, did you know that? Like when he left, in 2010, when he left Cleveland, business in the downtown Cleveland area dropped 52%. When he left it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Then when he went back, it super surged. So there is no one like that. There is no one like that. So
yeah, definitely a shout out to Bron. And even Morris with what you like. I'm almost knocking Bron because he's so good. Even to what you said about the Min Thompsons, the Ben Simmons, I'll just throw Luka in there just to throw him in there because he's a big guy that can handle and pass. I don't even put them on Bron's level. I equate them to Magic Johnson. Because I think Bron even is a notch above Magic.
He's saying, bro, like, I don't think people can. It sounds like Glaze. I don't think people can fathom what it means to be LeBron. Like, I don't think people can fathom, like, coming in, like, as Chill would say, that amount of fanfare, that amount of hype before I was born, and then still being here 22 years later, being one of the best in the world while remaining about as healthy as possible throughout all that time, scoring 40,000 points in the NBA, winning 4 MVP. Like, you're not replicating that. Like, it's just borderline impossible to replicate that.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, how influential are you if people don't try to replicate it? And if it's impossible to replicate, you might be better, but you might not have as much influence. Like, that's where I'm at with LeBron. I think he's better than basically every name we said on.
So he might be a victim of his own success.
Yes, he might. Yeah. He's so good that he's so good. I think his influence is lessened because you can't replicate it. It's not possible to replicate.
You never doing that. I don't care how good you think you are. You never doing that.
Because influence comes from people believing they can achieve it. That's what. That's why Kobe was so influential. People felt, no matter how wrong they were, people felt that they could do what Kobe did if they had that mindset, that dedication.
Sure.
Even if it wasn't in basketball, it was in their own craft. They could do what Kobe did. You can't do what LeBron did. You can't be LeBron James. You just can't. Now, no matter how hard you try, you can't be LeBron. Even if Wemby goes on to become the GOAT, it won't be. He wouldn't do it the way LeBron did. Like, that's what I mean by you can't be LeBron. Even if you surpass LeBron as a player, like people who think MJ's better than LeBron, I'm fine with that. Believe what you want. I don't care. But you're not gonna do what LeBron did. Like, even MJ had his off the court issues. LeBron, like, that's the thing. You're not gonna be LeBron. No matter if you surpass LeBron and you're a better player than LeBron, or you have a better legacy than LeBron, you aren't gonna do it the way he did it. And that's why I think his influence is lessened. Well, part of the reason.
All right, y'all. We are going to move on to number 2.
Latest Mike, good to talk to you, brother.
You out, Swiper?
Yeah, I'll see you on Texas.
At number 2 is Steph Curry.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable for basketball stuff. For sure.
Yeah.
So this is what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. This is the list as of right now. Most influential players voted by yours truly on the panel. Steph Curry comes in at number 2.
He's the same as Iverson in the aspect that he was relatable. Like, he looked like you. Like, you could go in a grocery store and you could run into Steph Curry. Meanwhile, he does this thing that nobody else can do. But because he looks like me, maybe I can do it. I'm going to at least try to do it. And I'm going to go consistently. I'm going to watch him. He becomes a household name. Not only does he become a household name, he becomes a global name. And the fact that he's doing it for so long, and the fact that he's been so good at it for so long, makes him more influential to the game. Off the strength that if I do something for 5 minutes, I'm really not that influential because I'm a trend, I'm a fad, as opposed to I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been a long ball shooter, and now if you 6'10", if you can't shoot the long ball, if you can't shoot the mid range, if you can't play like this, then you can't be here. And the fact that he's transcended the game like that and made it so teams completely switch up the way that they play basketball. As a unit, I ain't even talking about just overall as one player. As a unit, this is how we have to play. We have to add this to our game, and we have to be good at that. LeBron James is a prime example of that, since you brought that up, Miles, when you talked about James. James's career got extended because he had to put the long ball in his game. He had to do that. Otherwise, I'm not going to stick around because I can't just keep barreling down to the lane and just put my head down and get to the lane. I got to put this in my game because this is the way the game is going. And if I don't do this, I'm going to be a dinosaur and I'm going to get phased out. And the fact that he's the fact that he's as relatable because he looks like everybody else, I think that's what separates him from a lot of guys.
For so long, the game was either you're bigger and stronger than everyone, or you're just faster and more explosive than everyone. You go throughout history, you got Mikan, bigger and stronger than everyone. Wilt and Bill, bigger and stronger than everyone. Kareem, bigger, Dr. J, Kareem, bigger, stronger, faster than everyone. Then you got Magic and Bird, who weren't faster than everyone. Well, Magic was very fast, but like they were just bigger than everyone at their position. They were just bigger. And then you got MJ who could just fly over people. Hakeem was bigger than everyone, bigger, more skilled than everyone. Shaq, bigger and stronger than everyone. Duncan was bigger and stronger than everyone. Kobe could fly, but he couldn't fly like MJ, but then he was skilled, but he was 6'6". Like, it was just crazy. And then you got LeBron, who was 6'9", freight train. KD, 7 foot, doing all of the crazy things he does. And then you got this 6'3" guy who just comes along and is like, yeah, I can't run as fast. I can't jump as high. I'm not bigger than you, but I shoot this ball from 28 feet better than anyone you've ever seen. And like that, for me, that's what the influence is. The game, it didn't go away from the athletes, but the emphasis on skill, I think, elevated with the elevation of Steph Curry. And I think positions, have died because of Steph Curry and his influence. The traditional power forwards who would also play with their back to the basket and they would bruise people and they'd be 18 and 10, the Al Jeffersons of the world, the Paul Millsaps when he was approaching to Paul 4, to a lesser extent, the LaMarcus Aldridges, the Zach Randolphs. They've gone extinct because we need a stretch four. We need a four who can play on the perimeter, who can play on the outside, and who, more importantly, can guard on the outside. We don't need these bigs who can't guard on the outside. Go watch 2016 unanimous MVP Steph and watch what he was doing to these teams that ran a traditional power forward and a traditional drop coverage big. That season is what changed everything. Even though he was great before that, even though he's done everything since, that season is what changed the way teams viewed the game. You could no longer run out there with two traditional bigs who couldn't play in space. You had to adopt your philosophies. So then you end up with Tobias Harris being a power forward, Jason Tatum playing the power forward, Kevin Durant playing the power forward. The traditional power forward position has died, I think, because of Steph Curry. Even to a lesser extent, the shooting guard position of the MJs, the Kobes, they would be point guards today. Because if you got a guard who can dribble the ball, who can create their own shot and can pass, you don't run the two anymore. You run the point. The only guys who really run the two are guys who can't really dribble or guys who are 3 and D. But if you can actually create for yourself, you are a one in today's game. We need as many guys who can dribble, as many guys who can shoot, as many guys who can create as possible on the court. That's because of Steph Curry.
Sounds like Steph Curry inadvertently, of course, not on purpose, inadvertently ruined the game of basketball.
Yeah, and that's why I said I've always said influence is influence, whether it's positive or negative.
Curry.
Yeah. So that's why he's on the list, because he inadvertently ruined basketball. He's got people confused, thinking they can get somewhere that they can't. You know what I mean? And that's all. You know, there's people that think, oh well, Steph Curry. Well, you're not Steph Curry. And you're never going to be Steph Curry. Learn how to do other things. Now kids are out here just running around throwing up threes. It's really terrible. It's tragic. But the good thing about that is basketball will correct itself. This isn't going to last too much longer. You know?
Are we going to get back to the big fella, Ox? You think the big fella's coming back?
And not necessarily just the big fella, but we'll get back to good basketball. We'll get back to good basketball.
I don't know. Analytics are doing this thing, man. I don't know. But now that's another thing. The analytics movement was on its way. Daryl Morey and what he was doing in Houston was there. Like I'm not one who's like Steph Curry's the only one who changed the game.
Right.
But Steph Curry's game perfectly. Steph and Clay and the Warriors winning with that style of play, I think is what made, whether you like analytics or not, I think that's what made analytics.
That was the difference right there, Mars.
That's what made analytics accepted. Being able to win, shooting the three, kind of eliminating the mid-range, and really just trying to get the most high percentage shots, I think is what made analytics accepted. Because Houston were doing it, but they just never got over the hump. And I don't know if it would have been accepted if a team wasn't able to get over the hump doing it. And I think that's why the influence is there, whether or not you agree with it, whether or not you like it or not, but the influence is there. So for me, that's why Steph was number 2. Just the game through all levels of basketball, little youth basketball, ops coaches. I'm sure you got kids who just love shooting threes. Like that's what the game is. Through high school, college, overseas, it's all about getting the most efficient shots possible. Threes, layups, dunks, free throws, and Steph Curry just mastered the analytical.
Well, you just said it yourself, Mars. The thing that pushes this whole thing over the top, none of this works unless he wins. Because we've seen teams do that. I mean, the 8 seconds or less offense. They were able to get to the Western Conference Championship more than once, right? They were able to speed up the league. But the consensus on jump shooting teams is you can't win. And the reason why you can't win is because you don't have a big guy. Well, into Steph Curry, into Klay Thompson, and now you got these two guys who completely open up the floor way bigger than what it was before. It's now a jump shooting from 28 feet, 26 feet. Now you have to be able to guard from here. Not only do you have to be able to guard from here, offenses are now different because it's not just from the long ball line to the rim. There's everything in between because the game is so wide open now. Before them, because nobody was winning, you couldn't really do that. Now you can do that with these guys. And because Steph Curry, it's become something completely different now.
You don't know how many drafts I've done on Open Gym or just elsewhere where the moment you draft two guys who can't shoot a three, your spacing's cooked, the team's trash, there's no spacing. That's because of Steph Curry. The idea that if you have two guys who can't shoot, your team is cooked is because of Steph Curry. Like, I don't know how many times I've had to try and explain that spacing is more than shooting threes. But anytime you draft two guys who can't shoot threes very well in a draft, your team is cooked. There's no spacing. That's because of Steph.
Don't leave out Mars if you got a big guy that's clogging the lane too. Don't leave that.
Oh
don't
yeah,
leave that part
you're
out
cooked.
too.
You're cooked. You're cooked. Your big needs to shoot threes. Your four needs to shoot three. You draft Giannis, you better not get a big who can't shoot a three. How dare you put Giannis and KG on the team? Oh no, your team will never score. Like, but that's Steph Curry.
I do want to say these two things about Steph, and then we're going to move on to the number one. First things first, Mars, you had talked about how he revolutionized not only the game, but the point guard position. I do want to say that the point guard position was actually heading in a whole different way. And he literally grabbed the steering wheel and said, no, the point guard position is going to play how I want it to be. Remember,
well, first of all, Ron, take that tag off me. Let's take that tag off me. You're not going to put me in the box with these dudes. No, I do it different than the rest of them.
Remember, it was two up-and-coming elite point guards that were right before Steph. Really, in Steph's era, he's just kind of outlasted both of them. You had Derrick Rose and you had Russell Westbrook, who basically were transcending the point guard position to be not only bigger, 6'3", 6'4", but more athletic as well. And just being able to be guys that are just freak of natures, but can handle the ball, get downhill and do that. And don't even necessarily, their games aren't predicated on shooting. And then all of a sudden, Steph Curry came along. And their games didn't necessarily become obsolete because you still got your Ja Morants and stuff like that. But Steph Curry basically just took the position and took it to a whole nother level. And now it's almost impossible to be a point guard and you can't shoot. So that was one thing. Also, too, Chill, you talked about Allen Iverson. You said you would never wear a pair of Reeboks. I had never, ever imagined wearing a pair of Under Armours until I got to Germany in my first rookie season overseas. The first pair of shoes that I brought with me over from America were some Under Armours. I'm like, hey, I'm about to go pro. I need to be able to shoot the ball at an elite level. Maybe. Rubbing the shoes like a genie. Maybe these will help me do it.
These shoes are going to do it. Right.
I got busy in them Under Armours too, by the way.
Yeah. Them shoes are weak as hell.
But all right, y'all, let's move on to number one. You guys already know who is at the top of the mountain of the most influential players to ever play basketball. Michael Jordan.
Who could it be?
Tops. This is going to be short and sweet. This is going to be short and sweet for me. Mars, you just said it, and I stand on it. I mean, not Mars, I'm sorry. Ox, you just said it, and I stand on it. Jordan tricked us. He came out with the Gatorade ads and be like Mike. No. Nobody never going to be that good. Oh, with the ball head, he made it cool to do a whole bunch of different things. I was drinking Gatorade. I had a ball head because I'm trying to be that good. I'm never going to be that good. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be that good. No matter what I do. No, Mike tricked us. No doubt about it. He made it cool for things that weren't cool. Having a bald head. Like if you had a bald head, you were sick. Something was wrong with you. He made it cool. He made it fashionable. And also during that time, like Abdul-Jabbar, Albie Shaw, like the light-skinned dudes was ruling. Mike actually brought the dark-skinned dude back. If it wasn't for Jordan, the dark-skinned dude is over. Yes. Mike brought the dark-skinned dude back. The light-eyed, light-skinned dude. I won't even talk about his game where before Mike showed up, the two guard was 6'3", 6'4". Now you get this 6'6" dude that can jump this high and is ridiculously athletic. Now that's the standard. I mean, he in terms of influential, yeah, I don't think that there's anybody else. Just off the strength of him and he's been retired from the NBA over 20 years, and I still got his shoes. I still rock his shoes.
It's gotta be the shoes. It's gotta be the shoes. Like, Jordans aren't even considered hoop shoes anymore. It's just fashion. Like, he's branched out of the game of basketball to where people they know who Michael Jordan is because it's Michael Jordan, but they don't view Jordans as basketball shoes. They just view Jordans as shoes.
Yeah.
That expanding his sphere of influence, I think, outside of the game of basketball, globalizing the game in the way he did in the 90s with the dream team, but he was the face. Like, all of those things, like the game going in the direction it did in terms of globalization and the overseas product and everyone becoming more accessible to the game of basketball, started with that 92 team and therefore started with Michael Jordan. And then even beyond his career, everything you talk to anyone, they know who Michael Jordan is. People who know nothing about basketball, there's two names they're going to know: LeBron James, Michael Jordan. They are going to know them. To a lesser extent, Steph Curry too. But mainly LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Like not LeBron. Jordan has transcended the game of basketball in a way that I don't think anyone has. That's Kobe also. Kobe was on LeBron, Michael Jordan, Kobe.
Yeah, definitely Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe. My fault. Kobe fans, get mad at me. Yeah, shout out to Jay, man. I said it before you corrected me. But yeah, like those three, but mainly Jordan transcended the game of basketball in a way that I don't think can be measured. That's why he's the most influential. I think a large part of a lot of his GOAT case is about his influence and the fact that you're not replicating Jordan. You're just not. The influence he's had on people. He's had 20 years since post third retirement. Like you're not doing what Jordan's done. And then going into ownership, whether he was good or bad, but being a player going into ownership, like it's influence all around. I mean, he's influenced some of the most influential players. We'll say MJ was their influence. Like you can't match MJ personally. I think it's number one, and then there's a gap, and then we can have the rest of the conversation. It's MJ for me, clearly.
All right. Anything else need to be said about MJ? I think this is the
Did anyone not have him number one other than Swipe?
I didn't have him number one.
I had him number one.
Who'd you have?
I had
AI.
I told you I had AI, and I had Steph ahead of him too. I just think that the way Steph's like MJ's influence was obviously worldwide, but Steph has kids in China, leagues in China running to the 3-point line. He has leagues in Russia running to the 3-point line. He has the European game. Every level of basketball right now currently is mimicking Steph Curry. He has a thumbprint in some of that. It doesn't matter if
he's ruining these kids. He's just like parents that are going around telling their kids, "Oh yeah, you could be anything you want to be." Like, no, you can't. Okay, stop lying to these kids.
MJ lied to kids too. He said, "Be like Mike." Chill just said it. Couldn't nobody be like Mike? It's easier for a lot of people to be Steph than it is to be Mike. Steph is easier to mimic than Michael Jordan.
In 2023, Jordan shoes generated $6.6 billion in revenue. Like what?
I think he, if I'm not mistaken, Mars, and maybe you can look this up. I think last year, Jordan did like 328 million. Just last year.
It's
just him.
Yeah, you're not.
Mike, you tricked us. Be like Mike. No.
Of all shoes sold in the US, I believe 16% of them are Jordans. Of all shoes, 16% of them are just Jordans. Like we're not magic.
Yeah, I just bought a pair yesterday.
I'm like the only human in existence who doesn't seem to own a pair. Shout out to me.
Don't worry, PC weekend, you'll have some.
But
hey, we need to start to get more some J's. You need the Morris Blackmans too. That's what you really need. But Swiper didn't have Jordan at
Bill Russell
either. Swiper had Bill Russell, Steph Curry, LeBron, and then he had Jordan.
Was Steph a unanimous number 2? Other than Ox, who had Magic at 2?
Yeah, I don't think Chill. You didn't have Steph either.
I didn't. No.
Okay,
but
I don't think Swipers was in order, Ron. At least that's what he was saying.
He said he would have had Steph at 2, though. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all. This was an amazing list. We're gonna go ahead and transition into a quick lunch break, and then we'll be right back for the super chats.
What up, PC Nation? Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals this July with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious. From breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced. Head to factormeals.com/playerschoice50 and use code playerschoice50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code playerschoice50 at factormeals.com/playerschoice50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all, let's get to these super chats. I'm going to go ahead and speed read through these. We're at the tail end of the show. Shout out to everybody that stuck around. Shout out to everybody that's liked the video. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our subscribers. And shout out to everybody that sent through a super chat. Also, make sure you check out playerschoicemerch.com. Don't be a casual. Be an ex-casual. Masink OG said, Kevin Harlan over Mike Breen. Dub panel, dub chat, L host.
I don't know about that one, but Kevin Harlan
Zero,
is awesome, though.
Zero just vibing said, dub info, L host.
Facts. Shout out to me for that info on the 75 Warriors. It felt like so long ago I gave you guys that wonderful information.
Garbage.
Culture Bandit said, Mr. Potato Head with the suit. Dub Swiper.
Dub Mr. Potato.
Lee Mack said, Swiper offering the red pill or the blue pill.
Dub blue pill.
Masinko G said, Swiper, do me a favor and yell Destructo disc. This was crazy. Hey, if you know, you know.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Culture Bandit said, Swiper, put the beanie on. I can't.
Are they all about Swiper?
That's what it looked like.
The majority is.
Might as well just get up out of here, man. What we got?
Mitsu said, good to have the GOAT host back, for real. Appreciate you, Mitsu. I mean,
read the super chat.
I think
3 minutes to go, but I mean,
that was you. That was for you, Mars.
The GOAT host?
that was from Mars. Couldn't be me. Chris Code said will influence at least 5% of the population.
Facts. He should be number 1 for that. Shout out to Ori Poy Jr.
Diesel said, why the hell Swiper got a Man in Black suit on?
Mars, ain't no way you smash 20,000 chicks and you ain't got all the kids out here. That's not happening. I ain't buying.
That's one. Yeah,
I'm just not.
There's no way. Man, they got like a 97% safety rate.
I'm not buying.
Man.
I'm straight.
That's like 16,000 kids.
Chris O said, there's a large population of people that when they think of basketball, they think of Kobe.
Facts.
True that.
Arch, hey, shout out to Hall of Famer. He said, why Swiper look like Pringles?
Like wow. Wow. Whoa.
Vaughn said, Iverson is the most influential, in my opinion.
That was a very common opinion in the chat.
I think that's if you grew up in that certain time.
Yeah, I could understand it.
Yep.
Mo said Hargoat is the most influential, and Dub Mars as always. Vaughn said, I say Iverson the most influential because he inspired people across the world. A little guy who played like he wasn't afraid to die, the ultimate underdog. Shout out Iverson. A pimp named Slickback said, Ron, when did he get a Don? Ron, when did y'all get Donald Faison on the panel? Vaughn said, who ranks higher all time, Kyrie or Russ?
Russ.
UIT CP3 said Swiper looked like a super Indigent, a
superintendent.
superintendent.
Oh my goodness, Ron.
Swiper
Where you
looked like
at?
a superintendent that caught the teacher on OnlyFans. Dub
Shit, I
superintendent.
know I got some teachers off, man. Shit, let me find out.
Focus, Ox.
I'm just saying, I need the link. Go ahead, though, Ron.
Teddy Hart said, "Is Boogie Cousins a Hall of Famer? 4-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, gold medalist, Taiwanese champ, and Finals MVP. People have made Hall of Fame for less."
No.
I highly doubt it.
I
No,
doubt it very seriously, no.
no way.
Duke Did It said, "Larry's not white. Larry's clear."
Mhm.
Pimp named Slickback said 35 question mark. I'm paying 60 at a minimum in the DMV without tip.
Haircuts is something serious
They're
today. B.
putting
Man,
gold on your head. What the hell?
for real.
I'm paying
$60
that.
And then they try to put that little spray on. I'm like, bro, you better not spray that shit on my head. You want some enhancements? Back up. Man.
No, I'm good.
You
I'm
spray on
straight.
my fucking head. What's
60
wrong
is
with you?
crazy.
Alfred
What's the
Griffin said Reggie Lewis. Reggie Williams was on Denver.
Mhm.
Teddy Hart said, "I know it's apples and oranges, but who had a higher peak between Kobe and Shaq? Also, what years do you consider to be at their peaks?"
Shaq.
Yeah, I think Shaq peak time probably like 99 to like 01, maybe 02. Kobe like 06 to like 09 probably would be the years. But like 03 was really
Out of
good.
the
But
05
04,
for Kobe.
I
05
mean,
was nuts.
05?
but like
05, that's
No.
Oh no. I'm talking. I am talking about 06. I am talking
Yeah,
about 06. Yeah.
Okay, 06, yes.
Woo, y'all know
but
what
like
happened that
yeah,
year.
06 to 09. But like I want to put like 03 was like really good, but 04 and 05 were less good. So like I can't put 03 in there. But like 2000 Shaq is one of the best players I've ever seen. So.
Ever, Mars, ever.
He
Maybe
might be the best
unpopular
player
opinion.
ever.
I
He
got
might
05, 06 Kobe over 01 Shaq.
Oh, 2000 Shaq?
be. Mars, get him out of here, Mars.
Hey,
God.
that
You gotta
Kobe
read
was-
the super chats, but I just disagree. Like I don't like
Yeah.
2000 Shaq. I don't think I'm ever gonna see something like that ever. Like live, I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to see something like that ever. Like it was
Rambo E 1996 said Shaq apologized to Kobe though. Blame goes both ways.
Yeah, when you get older, you see things different. That's all.
Knicks fandom 23 said excited for my team this year, but I'm concerned about our center depth. And also, don't buy that Bridges and OG can counter Boston superstars though. Thoughts?
I'll buy it.
they're gonna switch on Jalen Brunson anyway. Like it's not about OG guards. Like they're gonna try and mismatch up. But yeah, you guys need some legitimate bigs. Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa is just not gonna cut it.
No.
Avery B said Miller shouldn't be top 75. Talking about Dame, shaking my head.
Reggie Miller. There ain't
Yeah.
no 75 players better than Reggie Miller in basketball. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get me on that one.
DeSarmo said, my first swipe a dub. Dub Bill, so why don't you ever acknowledge the quote-unquote Jokic media, kitchen sink percentage mafia, and their clear bias to him? Fawning over their new bird, stolen MVP this year from SGA, Luka, Giannis.
Damn, he robbed 3 people of MVP in 1 year?
Oh,
That's terrible.
Duke Did It said, I deliver packages to kittens, Ron. LOL.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, nice.
How about that?
I delivered a couple packages of kittens too. Feel me?
Oh, he on his Will Chamberlain. Nice.
I'd have taken a couple packages from kittens. You dig?
Relax.
Yeah, see now you got to chill out here, man.
Fellas, I will see y'all tomorrow.
All right, chill.
All right, chill.
Culture Bandit says Swiper was that kid, or Swiper was a good kid. He wasn't outside. Dub citizen.
Ain't nothing wrong. You can be a good kid and still be outside. Saying like
Brian Holiday said, can Wemby make it to the top 10 this year?
He can. Not influential players, but yeah, he can.
Say Less said, not to disagree, Mars, but do you factor how he also brought up everyone around him and set them up for life?
That would be influential to his friend group. Yeah. Influential outside of that, not so much, no. But great that he did that. Wonderful. Shout out to him.
Well, he influenced this name. La Steeler said, y'all didn't even talk about LeBron and small ball.
I brought up a little bit. with Christmas.
Too Much Sauce said, "Do you think LeBron is monogamous with Savannah?"
Mind your business. Mind your
Yeah,
business.
like what the hell, man? You worry about where he's.
But if you find out that Savannah is not, man, how
John Jovanovic Wick said, "Too Much Sauce. We know Kobe wasn't to Savannah."
He sent a super chat to respond to someone else's super chat. Shout out to you.
We got to respect these people's marriages, y'all. That was a terrible joke. I was just playing, y'all. Let's relax, though.
D3 said, "Car racing is a sport. Lewis Hamilton is an athlete."
Cook.
You know what? My thing is, right, I know you got to get through these, right? My thing is like, look, you just can't have him over Diana Taurasi. Okay? That's right. That's it.
Kofifi Dotard BLM said, LeBron influencers his haters.
Influences his haters.
Okay.
All right, bro?
No, I'm not. Almighty Scambo said, "#1 better be Dean Wade and not that bald gambler."
Dean Wade was snubbed.
Eddie Thomas became a member today. And then Eddie Thomas sent through a blank super chat. And then Eddie Thomas finally sent through a super chat saying, "In my opinion, Oscar Robertson's influence as the OG Players Association rep, getting free agency instituted, and him being the first dual threat Big PG is underrated."
I agree. I was thinking about him and Jerry West a lot. I didn't know what to do. They'd probably be who I'd put at 10.
Chris Lewis said, "Curry's influence isn't only transparent in the NBA, but every state of basketball in total, from high school ball to street ball, everything."
That's
shout out to Emma Hatcher. She became a member today. Leaf D sent to a members chat. He said, "The dark-skinned dude been back. Magic, Dr. J, top CT."
Dr. J was one I expected someone to say, but
Drink More Agua said, "In my opinion, if Steph is this high at 2, Harden should also be in the top 10. Sure, most players and teams take a lot of threes now, but these players are taking step back threes, which is purely Harden."
Oh, Paul Pierce.
Thanks, Morris.
You're welcome.
Somebody said it.
You're welcome.
Emma Hatcher with the super chat said, "I was today years old when I found out Sean Livingston went 1,309 out of 1,309 in mid-range shots."
Yeah, that is an undeniable fact, as substantiated by stathead.com.
Stat, Emma.
Shout out Sean Liv, and definitely shout out Emma, and shout out to everybody that has been in here and is still in here and is like this video, and shout out to everybody for sure that's going to be here tomorrow, and also shout out to everybody that's going to Open Gym next. We'll see you guys there.
Merry Christmas.